Next stage, pipelines with built-ins. Okay, that's going to be next. In this stage, you'll extend pipeline support to include shell built-in commands. Built-in commands like echo type need to be handled correctly when they appear as part of a pipeline, whether at the beginning, middle, or end. Test. The tester will execute your program like this. It'll then send commands involving pipelines with built-ins. So echo, raspberry, and blueberry. We pipe that. Okay, so basically they echo, which is a built-in, and they pipe that to an external command. The tester will check if the final output matches the expected output after the pipeline execution, correctly handling the built-in commands. For the type command, the tester will check if the command correctly handles the built-in command and prints the correct output. The ls output is not supposed to be printed. Oh, I see. ls is not supposed to be printed because we're piping to that. Okay, got it. Notes. Built-in commands don't typically involve creating a new process. You'll need to handle their execution within the shell process while still managing the input-output redirection required by the pipeline. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. Okay, so this is, I can definitely see how this is going to be a little bit tougher. Let's actually run our tests, and I want to see what they're working on. So if I do a CodeCrafters test, we can just see what it is that they're going to be, what they're actually trying to do, and then we'll just try to fix these and make the test pass one at a time. Okay, so they're echoing strawberry, strawberry, and piping that to word count, which we're just echoing that out, and we're expecting the pipe to word count. Okay, so if I go run this, we can easily recreate this. So echo 1, 1, pipe to word count, we get that. If I open our built-in command echo, we're obviously just running that, and then this is, okay, so we're just pushing the result to standard out. So the question now is, do I want to handle piping here in echo? I don't think I do, because I think this is right. Like I'm passing, like I'm taking whatever echo gave me, I'm passing this to standard out. I push one thing to standard out. If I head into the library, because it's pushing into standard out, I know with certain I didn't like print line or anything else inside of echo, which means I can detect if there's a pipe here and then pass this input to the pipe. Now, where this gets interesting is when I go into the type, because I need to like rerun what this command is. Almost, I almost want to break this out into a different function to basically just run this and get the output. So not found handles all the piping properly. Oh, except I wonder if they're going to ever require a built-in later on in the pipe. Are they going to do that? I think we saw that they are, right? They are, which changes the entire system that we have. Which, oh no, this is going to be a thing, isn't it? I can't run multiple commands here. I'm going to have to like send it out. Oh yeah, everything is going to change. I can see why this is a hard one. Okay, so I'm doing too much. I'm doing too much inside of not found. So basically, not found, we're getting all of the commands that we're doing. Now we have the piping commands, and we're combining them together. But I think I need to combine them together up here. And I also think I need them to be real commands. Because if they're real commands, then I know that we're going to be, doing exit or something else like that. With the problem right now being, I don't know if they're built-ins or not. Yeah, so get commands, standard error, user input line, and then command gives me the pipes. Oh, okay, so we're gonna have to think about what the real thing that we want to do is, because this is gonna be a fairly big, I think this is gonna be a fairly big refactor. Actually, it's not a refactor because the technical term for refactor is we're keeping the behavior the same, but changing the code. We're actually going to be changing the code and changing the behavior at the same time. So it's a rewrite. So the end goal is I need a new list of commands. Now git command, I command new. Okay, I have all of user input here, right? Yes, okay, so I have all of the user input there at that point. So when I command new, we take our user input and I'm parsing it, which now gives me a full vector of this. So if I print line, I parsed input. Right, okay, so I get this. So I'm still fine here, but I am inside of command as I'm doing this. And so if I want to create like a bunch of commands, I feel like a commands builder, or like a commands instead of like command, where I have like multiple of them together, or like a command collector or something like that, where because like then I can track piped. Yeah, because like a piped command is absolutely not. I need this to be like a command, right? But a command that then stores piped commands doesn't seem right here. So we're gonna have to rethink command and then also some kind of like collection for all the commands. So let's start backwards. Did I get rid of my print line? I think I did. Got rid of you too. Okay, so we get the user input. I get a singular command, which is already now we're in a problem. What I need is get a list of commands, and then we're gonna loop through the commands. Oh, I was hoping like tab would indent me. I want something like that, right? So for each command, I guess for each command, I want to run the command. If there is a pipe, capture output. Otherwise, output to standard out. Errors always to standard error. Okay, so run the command if there is a pipe, capture output. Okay, so if previous input, like from a pipe, pass input into command. And so that's how we can get echo to work properly. Okay, so we get a list of commands. For each command, we run the command. If the previous input from a pipe, pass the input into a command. So if we do something like echo hello world, pipe to echo the first echo just writes hello world. The second echo takes from, actually it would be cat, because echo I don't think takes from standard in, does it? I don't think so, right? So if I do echo hello world, pipe to echo, yeah, we just get nothing at all. If I do the same thing and pipe to cat, that does print that out. So echo doesn't care about standard in, cat does. Okay, so if previous input from a pipe, pass input into command, it probably doesn't care what that is. If there is a pipe, capture the output. Otherwise, output to standard out, and then error always to standard error. Oh, and then so if error, this is if error, this is print to standard error, and then also stop execution. You stop execution early. Cool. Thank you for that. I should have put the spaces in here. Let's get list of commands for each. That's what I want. Okay, how are we gonna do this? This is gonna be a thing. So get command obviously is getting a single command that has all the pipe stuff in it, and I need this to be a vector of commands, don't I? And with each command, so what does a command need to look like? A command needs to have, well, a built-in command. That makes sense. So built-in, the arguments are helpful. Now these built-in, like those are part of the arguments. I don't hate those. I think those are fine. And so to run a built-in, I just need the arguments. We have standard out and standard error at already sort of like set up here. So if I run a built-in, I loop through the commands, I run it, I capture. Okay, so then the new runner will capture the output. That's fine. I could have Echo return the output if there is one, or we can say if it's part of a pipe. No, I like it. I like the fact that it's just sort of like adds to standard out like this, because I can pop that off and pass that into the next thing as standard in, which then it could read all those things and pass into itself. It clears it out and then changes whatever it is. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if that's actually that doesn't seem like the right idea. Like I don't want Echo caring about having to like the clear standard out. There's like the runner's gonna have to do that. So is my command really just built in? What's in a command right now? Okay. We have our built-in command. We have if it's going to standard out or standard error, and then we have if it's piped. And I just want a new command if it's piped. If I'm piping, I don't need like a boolean or anything else. I would just remove this, right? Like if I don't have piped, I'm tracking to see if I'm standard out or standard error on this command. So I think this is all I need for you. So when I build a new command, this is where potentially I would need a function that builds like that parses the input and creates multiple commands instead of part of command like this. That might be part of utilities. I kind of feel like I would want something down here where I would have like a pub function, like parse user input. We would take in user input, which I think is just a string, so we take ownership of it, and we would return a vector of command. So let's mute our commands, and we'll return commands. Then you're happy and you know what you are. Okay, so right now, when I parse the input, so that parsed input equals parse input, take in the user input, so we give ownership of that away. We now have a vec of string. Okay, so we have a vec of string, and that's like everything broken apart. I kind of want to switch over to use this now and sort of figure this out as we're going along, right? So it's print line parsed input, parsed input, totally get you. Parse user input in here, so I don't do you anymore, and we just say let our commands equal to, what did I call this? It's like parse user input. We have our user input line. Give you that, and then I want a to do. I would love for you to just ignore all that stuff and be perfectly fine with this. Okay, hold on. Go to the end. Ooh, expected to write curly. Unclosed delimiter. Yeah. Okay, so rid of you. Just a bunch of warnings, but technically okay. So cargo run. So if I do something like ls pipe to cat, okay, that's what I expected, and our test here is going to be this. Okay, that runs, I think, fine. Now you're removing, because this is the command input. This is like what the command is, and we can take a look at that there. This is what like the first command is. I wonder if I would rather extract the command and we loop through the string mutating what the thing is to get the command. So if I create a new from this, so pub function new, I take in, because I it's almost like I want a from input, but not really. I guess like from user input, but it's extract from user input. And so if we take in, we have a vector right now of the user input. So our user input is going to be a mutable vec of string. I don't know if I need the standard error yet. We're going to return a self from this. Okay, so we know we want to first figure out what the built-in command is. So built-in command. So this is going to be our command name is, we have to assume that you even have a command name. So if I attempt to remove the first thing and there's nothing there. So if I do user input remove at 0, if you like to remove, oh yeah, so if I use a vec deque instead of a vec, okay, so what if I use a vec deque, then I can pop the front, which gives me an option, which means that this can be an option, right? An option of self, because if there is none left, then we're going to get a none, right? So I can question mark you. All right, so we have our command name. The next thing we're doing here is we're selfing, okay, so we have the rest of the argument, centered out, centered error from extract, redirect. The problem with this is, oh, I extract pipe from this. I just need to go until we find the first pipe, right? As soon as we find a pipe, it returns. So extract, redirect might actually be fine. But looking at this, we're going to need the standard error here. And so if we have that here, we need it here too. You need commands. You need to be a vec deque. Okay, so how do I know when we're done? Well, we're going to be done when we attempt to get another command and we get a none, which means we're going to need to infinite loop this. So we do an infinite loop. Okay, so we parse the input already. I want to create a command. So let's just call this command equals, and this is probably going to be an if let, right? Actually, we're done. So let's sum command equals extract from user input. We take in our mutable reference. So you need to be mutable. The parsed input. We pass in standard error, and if you're a none, we're done. So we break out. And so we have our commands now, and we can just print line. We can add the command into our commands. So commands push the command, and then we're good. And then you need to be, okay, so what did I do? Okay, so parse input. You need to be a vec deque. A vec deque here. Okay, so you're a vec, not a vec deque. Okay, so my is there a vec deque? It'd be really cool if there was a macro for this. I don't think there is, right? So a vec, it's a module. I don't think there is. So we'll just do a vec deque new, I think. I mean, that should be fine, right? Hold on. I don't want to have you. Input parser. Okay, so you. Result push. Right. So now I want a push back. Push back. Okay, so extract from user input, option self. Right. I'm not returning. So let's just return a none for right now. Okay, so extract from user input. We're gonna have to write a new input parser to only grab what we want out of here. Let's get rid of these warnings too. Okay, so here we're in the main library. We parse user input. We're missing reference to standard error. Oh, we have get command. Are you being used? Get command here is being used. Are you being used? I mean, sort of. Not really. Wait, go. I don't think get command is being used. If I just delete you, built-in type is never used. Right. That's fine. But I have no, okay, so I have no errors anymore. We're fine. Oh, ad break started. I'm gonna go use the restroom really quickly. I will be right back, and we will continue on this rewrite. All right, I'm back. Took me a little bit longer. Had to grab a drink too. The caffeine I took earlier is like kind of working, but I think I'm more tired than a little bit of caffeine can help right now. So we have so many warnings, but I don't think that's really a problem because I commented out a bunch of code, but that's okay. So we're really trying to check to see, and I think the key and the way I work is just run this a little tiny bit at a time, and then we're going to get what we want out of this, right? So I'm running my commands, I'm parsing the user input, and I think what I want to do here is I'm going to print line the commands. And then I don't need to do any print line in here ever. We just return what this is, and we can sort of like slowly see it rebuilding over time. And so if I cargo run, and if this is the command I want to build, we have nothing coming in right now, which is to be expected. So I create a new command, I extract from user input, I'm getting the command name, and then I want to create this from the command so that our command is going to be, actually this is going to be a built-in, right? So a built-in command equal to a built-in command, and I can do from, I think, your from string within the arguments in it. So we need to get the arguments next. So the arguments are going to be the input parser. So we parse input, that gives us a vectq. Now, how are you working right now? How were you working previously? So we get the parsed input. Oh, and okay, so we've already actually done that. We did that down below. We're getting one command out. Then I want to extract redirect from this. Extract redirect takes our input, which is a vec. I think this is going to be a vectq of string. We have our arguments. I have an iterator over the input. Okay, standard output. So then we have our standard error. Right, okay, so we figure out what, like, we set our standard out and standard error to be default while we have another argument. So we get the next one. Then we check to see, okay, if it's a redirect. If it's a redirect, we then push that all in, that's fine. And if it's anything else, we push the argument in. I think for the most part, that's okay. But if it's a pipe, I think we should break immediately. And are we taking ownership? We are taking ownership of this. So if I just mute DQ this is going to change slightly. We infinite loop over it. If I pop off like the next argument. So if I do, so what if I don't even create this as an iterator? So our next, so if I pop from the front, and what if I could check to see what it is and then leave it in place if it's not what I want it to be? So if I do, so let some next argument equals if input is some, how do I get the first one? Okay, so do I want to just, maybe I just pop it off and I just put it back if it's not right? So inputs pop front. If there isn't a next one, we're going to break because we're done. So we have our next argument, and I want to check to see what this is. So now we match it. So we match the next argument as a stir, and we do pretty much the same thing here. If you're like that or you're that, then we know that we're going to be, so we're going to be in standard output, create file, and we need the next one now. So let's this is going to be the hopefully file name. Input front. Okay, So if you don't exist, standard error. Okay, so I think this is exactly the same. So we can just take you, I think I could delete you and put you in here. Okay, so we're in our infinite loop. We get the next argument. We then check to see if the next argument is one of these things. For example, if we're redirecting to standard out, then we set standard out, okay? And instead of this next, this becomes input pop front, okay? If next argument, this is input pop front, otherwise we're like that. Okay, pop front on that. Same thing here. Okay, there. Okay, so if you're a pipe, actually, yeah, okay, so hold on. If I want to don't I want to extract the arguments until you're one of these special things? It's like, do I even want to finish this right now? Yeah, I need to extract the arguments. Where did I get that from? Arguments. When I extract from the user input, you were just pushing the arguments in, weren't you? That's not necessarily what I care about. Basically, we're in arguments mode. Because I wonder if I should be putting this into input parser instead of like this. Because in input parser, we have parse input, and then you do all the fun stuff like this. But if I wanted a new function, let's say it's like a second round, right? And actually, is that even correct? Would it be part of this? Because like when I parse the input, we're doing all this stuff. We're figuring out what state we're in, and these are the potential states. But redirect is a state, and our result is a vectq, sure. But do I also need redirects or like something like a main command? And would this be doing too much? Possibly. I feel like this does a pretty good job of going through everything right now. My brain is sort of like going back and forth on like different ways of doing stuff. So that's why I'm like in the like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, wait, maybe I don't want to do that. I want to do this instead. And I have to like convince my brain is like, okay, no, it's like, well, what is the right way to do it? Or at least what is a way that I can actually get past like just a few characters before I'm like, ooh, I want to do something else. I would love to just go, okay, so we have all the arguments, right? I want the arguments for this command because the pipe can have, like if I pipe to another command, I can have more arguments. And a redirect is for a specific command. And that's, I guess, the reason why we're mute dequeuing here is when I extract my redirect, it's for the first command. If I iterate through this, we see something that's not one of the characters. I suppose. Let's see. After the arguments is done with this, if I actually leave this the original way, like what it originally was, I have arguments, and then I wonder if that actually would work. Like if I reset command, if I just bring this back. Okay, so that command name we want. Let's say we have our arguments. We have this is going to be the command standard in, command standard out equal to self extract redirect. And then you want this to be a normal vector. I do need you to be a vectq, but the rest of it I think is fine. So we give it ownership to user input, standard error. Okay. Wait, did you not? Yeah, you return a result. Oh, you return an option. Oh, that's right. Might have to put a result in here like that. Do something like that. Oh, but pop front now becomes an option. How do I? Oh, wait. I know. I keep that there. That stays the same. We just lose that. That's fine. Expected double quote. Option open close. Oh, it's fine. We extract redirect. User input. So So let's say I take ownership of you again. Oh, right, because I'm in a loop here. I forgot that I was in a loop here. Because I'm not creating one command, I'm creating a whole bunch of commands. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's the problem. How do I deal with this? So I don't think I want to like map through commands. I don't think that would work. I don't think fold would be a good idea either. Although I could fold, which is like the equivalent of a reduce. Is there actually a reduce also? I don't think so, right? I think it's just fold. Okay, so I have my parsed output, which is like all the things. That includes redirections and pipes. I want to basically, for each command, pop off the front. We figure out what the command is, and then I want to pop off everything up until a pipe. Okay, so we pop up everything. Okay, so what if I go back to? Whoa! Don't do that. How do I get back there? So I want to go back to this. So this is our new extract view. I'm not gonna do this. Um, I think I don't want to do this here. Okay, so like the very first thing I want to parse through the user input to get for one command, which feels like it's part of the input parser, but it's like a subsection of it. So if I have a pub function um, remove like input for one command, so input for one command, we're going to take in our, this is the user input. We're going to make this a mutable vecdq string. We're going to turn an option, and this should be just like the full string, right? So option with a string in it. Or this is like a new vecdq with strings inside. That might be better. So this is like a single command input. So we'll make a vecdq new from this will return a sum. So if I return, I may not need to do an option. This might be okay with just like an empty. Like if it's empty, there's nothing in there, and we're fine. So in that case, we just return this. I want to okay. So this is where we loop over. So we create a loop here, and then actually I can do a while let, right? So while let sum, this is input. I guess this is this is like some part of the argument, right? So this is an input like fragment. So user input, I want to pop the front. So I grab this. If I check what it is, so I match, basically, if you exist and you're not a pipe, you're part of the same. So I can just check to see. So if input fragment, if you're a pipe, then we're done. I want to put you back in. So user input, push to the front, the input fragment, and then we immediately break. If we get past this, it's part of the single command input. So single command input, push back the input fragment. And then we continue on until either we run out of things in user input or we run into a pipe, which means I don't necessarily need to include to put this back in, right? Like we've removed the pipe. The next thing is actually going to be the next command's input. So, okay. So we just break there. We don't put it back. And then we return the single command input, but we've mutated user input. So not a pure function. I suppose I could return user input too. But so for each command, I want to get a command. So this is going to be the next command's. So command input is going to be, what do I call it? Input for one command. So input for one command, our parsed input. So now we have the input for one command, and we'll keep on going through this until we run out. So if we have an empty vectq, there are no more commands. And now I want to create a new command based upon this command input. So this is where I want to create just a brand new command. We have these are the arguments plus the redirect, right? So this is the input string. This is user input. We can take ownership of this. So it's a vectq string. We have standard error also. And then we can do an option self of whether or not we're actually creating a command from this. So the very first thing we do is we pop off the command name. So let's command name is going to be user input pop front question mark u. We'll make you mutable. This isn't an actual error if we don't have a command. It just returns none if we don't have anything in there. Then we need to extract the arguments and then potentially any redirects that we're going to. And that's where this comes in, right? Because if I have my input, I'm just arguments iter, I'm just grabbing this out. I won't have anything else to push into it. So this might work as is. So we're going to have the arguments. We're going to have command standard out, command standard error equals self extract redirect. We give it ownership of user input because we've already popped off the front. We give it standard error. And then we have, it would definitely be nice to question mark this, which means that you would need to be a result. Unfortunately, we can't, let's see. If I change you, we'll just make you, I can't do an else like this, can I? Okay, so we'll say let sum command name equals pop front. Otherwise, we're going to do an early return of an okay, none. We get you and we question mark you. Right now, we're just returning the none and we're fine. Okay, so now we have the arguments and the command centered out for one command. I can now get my built-in command. This takes in a tuple of the command name and the arguments. Okay, and now I believe we can return. Actually, it's just a command, right? So return okay self. So we have our built-in command, our standard out, which is a command standard out, and our standard error, which is a command standard error. Okay. Oh, I'm missing some. Okay, so I don't do this now. So I'm gonna need to wrap you in a result too. Okay, so we're gonna have a single command equals command new. We pass in the user input, which is going to be the command input. Standard error. We question mark you. That gives us an option of a command, and which means need you to be sum that. Otherwise, we don't have any more commands, so we're going to break out of our loop. We push our command in, and we return an okay commands. Okay, I don't think we have any errors yet, but no, it's not going to actually run anything, but we should be able to compile this and check to see what we have. So if I do this again, okay, so our okay command echo raspberry blueberry, and then we have another one echo not found WC. Okay, and if I do this again, let's say WC word count dash word. Yeah, we now see not found word count with dash W. Okay, one more time. Let's do something like I want to cat out. Let's do echo. Echo hello world. Pipe that to cat and pipe that to head dash n 5. So we should have 3 commands. So command echo hello world, standard output, command cat with nothing, command head. Okay, I think we're fine there. And then finally I want to do, like, let's say echo hello world, redirect to out, pipe to cat. So standard out, create file out, and then built command. Okay, so then also go to cat, which technically you can do that in the normal shell. I don't know if we're going to get it working in our shell the way it works in a normal shell, but I think that this is working the way we want it to work now. So we're actually extracting out like a list of commands, which is great because now we can get the outputs of commands if they're not standard out. Okay, so how do I want to use this? And do I also want to like peek and then I say that standard out is going to be piped at this point in time because there is something else? No, because I think I want each command to sort of not be aware of like how they're going to work. All each command knows is that it's going to standard out. It doesn't have to know that standard out is piped to the next thing. It just knows whether or not it's going to standard out or if it's writing into a file. Is there a way? I don't think I can do like a man of a man for redirect, right? Let's see. So like shell bash whatever, like redirect. What is it? Does it return what was written to file? Oh, my internet is getting slow. It's getting close to noon because I'm kind of curious about how this works. Okay, we're not doing all of the crazy redirections that they have. Oh, this is pretty cool where they have like how shells work. So if we wanted to make it exactly like, I guess this is born again shell, we could totally do that. Yeah, there's a lot here that we're not doing. Like we're not allowing redirections to standard, let's see, redirect both standard output and standard error to jurlist. But what I want to know is after the redirect, if after the redirect, do we still get the stuff? Because I'm pretty sure we do. I'm just curious if like whether or not that's like what they call that behavior and if that's needed. I don't think our command is going to need that, but like here we are in a normal bash shell. If I were to do something like ls and then save that to out, but then also redirect that to cat, we get the cat written out. But if I also cat out, that got written out too. And then let's just remove out and do this again to make sure. Yeah, so like both of those things happened. So I piped the output and I redirected, which is, I mean, we can certainly try to support that. I think that would be extra credit though. I don't know if it would be that hard though, because like I need to know whether or not when we're running the command, if it's the last command, because if it's the last command, go ahead and print to the inherited standard out or standard error. Otherwise, pipe it and then return what the result is, and then give me the standard out, standard error. Okay, all right. So I feel like we're at no, we're still not at a point where I can deal with all of the warnings because I've got a bunch of commented out code. So here, let's see, I can get rid of the result there. So now I have a bunch of commands. At this point, I want to loop through the commands, but you're going to need to be peekable because I need to know if there's a next command. If I make this a vectq, I could do another loop and I could just check to see if there's still stuff in commands. That might work. Oop, getting close to the end. I'm going to start the snooze fest. Okay, so let's make parse user input give us a vectq. And then your push back. Okay, so if I have you, I believe that I can then start a while let sum. This is the command we're going to run. Commands we pop from the front. Okay, so if there is a command, we get it and we have access to it now. So we can then just say, hey, we're going to print line running command like that. I can check to see if we're going to be, that's just one at a time thing, right? No errors. So if I do something like this again, running command echo, running command WC. So we go over it. We're obviously not doing it yet. If I want to know whether or not we're about to pipe, so piping, so if we want to pipe output, okay, so piping, just say like, yeah, piping centered out, piping command centered out, just making it really specific. So if we're piping command centered out, I want to see commands, are you empty now? If you're not empty, we're going to be piping your output. So running command and piping output. So piping output true, piping output false for the WC. Perfect. And if I have to do this for like a 3 thing, so echo, hello, pipe to cat, pipe to head. So piping, not piping. Perfect. Okay. So that seems to be working. I want to run this command now, and I want to get the output. And I think I think this is going to be fairly simple to do. So let's match the command's built-in command. Okay, so if these items are arguments. So I believe these are the arguments. Okay, so if your change directory, we're going to run change directory. We're going to pass it the arguments. We're going to pass it standard error, mute standard. Ooh, what are you? Yeah, okay, so mute of standard error. And you can't possibly give us any return back so that we don't give you standard out. All right. Oh, did you do a result too? Okay, you did a result for change directory. Wait, why are you here? You did a result here. Okay. What value partially moved? Oh, borrow partially moved value command. Right. So I don't think I need that print line anymore. Okay. So then we'll run exit. Oh, which just is wait, didn't I re-exported exit. So I think I have like my built-in commands. I thought I had like an exit here. What did I do down here? Oh, I just broke. I'm surprised that would work. Wait, why would break work? Oh, I break out of the loop. That's what it is. Okay. I'm breaking out of this loop and then I'm good. We don't have this other loop. So yeah, that does exit, doesn't it? So if it's exit, we just break. Can be nice. Do I have like pwd as the name of the function? It is. Okay, so pwd, we take in, it's our, so standard out, standard error. Okay, we have a built-in type. So we take in our arguments, take in our path, take in standard out, standard error. Okay, and then finally, not found. Now this is gonna be potentially another interesting one. Not found. We have the command name and the command. So down here we can see, okay, so if you're not found, then we need to do this entire thing where we find the executable and then we run it. And if I just take you all, okay, so if we're not find, we find executable files, and this is the command name, I believe. Oh, okay. We have less than 5 minutes left before the ads run. I think it might be best, just sort of like the way my brain works, if I leave my code in this like really bad, not working state, then it's going to be easy for me to know exactly where to come in and finish, like continue on tomorrow morning. So I don't have any other announcements, so let's go ahead and continue on. Last time we basically re-architected the commands loop here and working with like figuring out our piping solution and standard in, standard out. We're not using, I think I removed the vectors that I was using to store standard in, standard out, and instead we're using pipes because we finally learned how to use pipes properly. Previously, I had tried to use them and sort of like didn't understand it well enough to be able to use it. We got some help now. I know a little bit more how it works. I also experimented with it just slightly over the weekend, so I got like a little tiny bit more pipe knowledge as well. Okay, so basically, we just implemented. We basically have echo working again, and we have exit working. So next up is PWD. Uh, so what we're there's not going to be any more errors coming in, and there's not going to be. I went up to the top. Did not mean to do that. We're not going to have standard out being passed in, and we're not going to have any the errors be passed in. And PWD. Well, I got okay. So that does pass it. That does send to what is it called? To standard out. And how did I do this with echo again? Make that bigger too. Right line, next command. Oh, right. We get to the next command, which is a command IO. That's what it was. Okay. Basically, our next command, IO, that's the pipe writer. So we're going to write to pipe writer, which is standard. That is standard out. And this is only if we really need it to be to talk something, which PWD does print to standard out. So let's see, it's gonna be mute next command IO. Command IO. I do not want to go here. I wanted to go here. So it's this is basically standard out is a pipe writer string. Oh, pipe writer does not take 0 generic arguments. Huh. Okay. I thought. Oh, command IO is that I actually created a type for this. Oh, because it's actually a crate. Yeah. Okay, I remember now. So I want you to be. Am I taking ownership of it? I am taking ownership of it because I am returning an error exit code. Okay. So mute, returning, not using anyhow anymore, returning nothing, error exit code. Okay, so we get my current path. We don't context. We can map the error. What type of error are you? You're an IO result with a path buff. I don't know if I know exactly what that is. So it's just an error exit code. Either way, so I can map error, and let's just return 1. Then I can question mark you. Ooh, I guess it's error exit code. You're a struct. I think that's it, right? Cannot initialize a tuple struct which contains private fields. Right, because that is. Oh, right. New const. New const. I think it's taking me like what? A bit of time to remember how to do this. There we go. That's how we do it. All right, so we have our we get our path. We stringify the path. So instead of echoing this, we're now going to write. Am I going to write a line? I think we do write a line to this. So write line to standard out. Standard out. This is just going to be a stringified path. We can map this error. Why don't you? Isn't this an error? Oh, yes. We need write. There we go. Now I can map error. Let's return a error exit code, new const, this will be 2, question mark u, and then okay at the very end. Okay, so I think we're good here. We have some warnings. We can get rid of you. Okay, nothing left bad here, which means I think this means that everything just sort of works as expected. So if I run you, no, we have other errors. Oh, we have, yes, type result. How do we handle this with, oh, I'm just returning this. There we go. Let's try this again. All right, so we have our shell here. So echo hello world still works. I should be able to do a PWD. That still works. Echo doesn't take anything from standard in, so I can't pipe pwd to echo, and I can't pipe echo to pwd. None of that actually means anything. So and we don't have any variables or anything else like that working. So that is pwd. All right, we're committing after every one of these just in case. Makes it easy for us to come back. So we re-implemented pwd. Okay, next up, if we have, okay, so type is next. So we're going to get the arguments. We're going to go to built-in type. We're going to pass in the arguments and the path. Okay, we don't need standard out or standard error, but we do need the next command IO. We don't return that. You're upset. Okay, so built-in type, arguments path, next command IO. So you get replaced with, this is command, I guess this is just really our current command IO. We're going to make you mutable. You're taking ownership and you're a command IO. We're not going to return an anyhow result anymore. It's now going to be an error exit code. Okay, what are we doing here? So we grab the first input type, and it becomes just an empty string if there's nothing there. I can probably convert this into an error. So what is it? It's okay, or turns it into a result. Yeah, and this should probably be fine, right? Transform the option t into a result te. So okay, or the error is going to be error exit code, new const, one, that. Okay, so we've got you. Oh, we do need to question mark u, built-in command. Okay, so we get the built-in command from this, which, maybe something else. We start creating our message. We mark it if it's an error or not. We start pushing in. We basically loop through. We do all the fun things. Okay, so find executable files, and this is an anyhow error. Should we change find executable files to be a exit code? Might be a good idea, but I don't necessarily know what that means here. So maybe not. Maybe I do. Maybe we map the error here. This becomes a error exit code, new const. So we already did one, so we're now doing two. Question mark u. Okay, so our path becomes unwrap or unknown path. Okay, so if we can't create a path buff, if we can't take the path buff and turn it into a string, into OS string, which gives that, I think we can do string lossy. I want to say that this works. Okay, so that gives us a cow. Right, okay, so we need to get the string from this. Can we get the internal string from the cow? So if I get it, no, I don't think that's right. I can't like destructure, dereference. Can I? That gives us a stir, but we don't know what that is at compile time. So I get a toString, which converts it to a string. So maybe that gives us what we want. So we push that in. We figure out if we're in the error mode. Oh, but that's all part of whatever we push out. So, okay. So if we're in error, we're pushing this to, okay. So it's basically where it's going, right? It's standard error or standard out. So we're going to do our, what did we call this? Our command IO. So we're going to write line, command IO, standard error, our message, like that. We'll need to bring in write, map the error. So let's see, this will be 3 this time. Okay, so next, exactly the same thing here, write line, except your command IO standard out, message, map the error. So this will be 4 this time. Got you, and then return. Okay. I mean, to be fair, I think because this is a Boolean, I might be able to get away with not doing the question mark here and returning the result of this because I've mapped the error out. We have no errors there. Okay, so you're upset. You're not upset. Cool. Okay, so now I should be able to do a type. All right, so if I do like type is a shell built in, type ls, ls has been ls, type nothing, type that. I want to say it's supposed to say, yeah, not found. We're missing not found. Okay, so this is not being pushed into the message. That's our problem. Am I missing this because of the colon? I'm really curious. If I take that out, but I'm wondering if the cow, when I do the toString lossy, I'm missing the colon there. No, I just get nothing now. Why is that? Okay, so I join you all. Oh, am I not? Oh, am I not printing out standard error at all? I feel like I'm not printing out standard error. Where are we printing out standard error here? Let's see. So match the command results. If you're an error, copy the error reader to standard error. If you're standard out, copy standard out. This should be like printing out what we have in standard error. This is all the previous versions of that code, which I probably could get rid of. All right, let's go through this one at a time. So we have our in our commands loop. So we have a REPL loop, and then we have our run commands loop, which you're yelling at because we have apparently it doesn't want us to use a label. We're not going to use the label. Fine. Piping commands centered out. Yes, we're not using that. Commands is empty, so yes, we haven't gotten to that yet. I guess we care about that for some specific things. Let's see. I have the standard in. Okay, so this is standard in reader, standard in writer. We're not using standard in yet. Standard error reader, standard out. Okay, so we have our standard error, standard out writer, and these are what's being passed in. So previous command, standard reader. So I get the standard out reader. So we get the standard out reader. So we get the previous commands. You're a pipe reader. I guess, yeah, so I'm just setting the previous commands to be what standard out is. Okay, so we're going to write to that. Okay, so we create a new command IO that has our standard in reader. That's our standard in reader, which we're not writing to. Our standard out writer, our standard error writer. I'm thinking about like when we I guess like, yeah, that's the reason why I'm taking standard out reader. I wonder if I should, I guess like when we do it, when we go through, if like we're in the Boolean, I should write to that and like write standard out reader to standard in. We haven't figured that part out yet. We're gonna have to. Okay, so basically we have our command IO. That's our standard in reader, our standard out writer, and our standard error writer. We start matching our commands. Our type command. So we have our built-in type. We have our arguments, path, and next the next command IO. So that's all of the IO stuff that we need for this command. It's supposed to figure out the argument. You know what? Something we can do is just do a normal print line debug. Make sure that we actually get to this point. So like, do we ever get to this is error? So let's do just a print line. Type is not found. So if we get to that, okay, so we did. We successfully got to this point. So that should push the error. I'm actually curious what the error is at this time. Let's print out the message. Let's print out the message like that. You're a vector at this point. Wonder if, did I forget to join it? Okay, so far that's good. Okay, message push. We get all that stuff. Oh, right here. So I join that. That becomes our string. And then I write line into standard error, this, or standard out. So I did not save you, but this isn't printing out. So standard error is not printing out. Now, if I do print to standard out, I believe this works. That does work. Okay, so we know that this is just a problem with standard error. Okay, so when I write line to command IO standard error, all right, so let's start tracing this. Our next command IO, and I think, is this the first one that I think that we're actually printing to standard error? I think so. Okay, so our next command IO, come here. We have our standard error writer, which is here, and that's going to match with the standard error reader, which gets created here. We're still in our while loop, and I'm matching our command result. So if we have an error exit code, so I'm curious about this. Do we get here? Oh, if we have an error exit code, we exit with okay. We exit with okay. So we have this. I need to return with like 5. So we do that. We're going to return okay. No, we're going to turn error exit code, new const 5. That's what I want to do. Because this error is if the write fails. But then I still need to return an error just because, of this. Okay, so let's try you. Let's type that. There we go. Now we get the type not found. Perfect. See how many of these warnings we can get rid of. None, because run external is going to be coming soon. So let's head over to library. Apparently you need to be saved. Let's see, what else do we status re-implemented type. Don't know what that 0 is for, but oops. Okay. Buffer close other. All right. Next up, okay, so we're out of built-in commands, and now we're on to not found, which is a fairly beefy one. Okay, so if we're not found, we have our command name, we have our arguments, we extract the executable, so we find the executable from this, and we get the first one. This one would mean that if we get a none, so this is an else, there is no executable. So that's down here. Let our error, custom error, command not found. I'm not returning inside of this. I guess we just set command result to be an error. Oh wait, no, I can return from here because command result gets returned from this. So we want to return from here a command result. A command result is really just an error exit code. So we're not going to write to you. I guess we can write line. We have our, let's see, command IO. Next command IO, standard error. What are you? You are could not find, right? So command not found. We need write. Okay, so we can map the error here. This will be, error. Don't care about this. Error exit code. Wait, what do I call this? New const. Sure, you're 1. I'm pretty sure we've only done new const here once, right? New const. Hold on. Somebody's asking me outside for something. Sorry about that. Somebody's here asking where I put keys to the car, which is not where they normally put it. So hence I sort of messed myself up there. Okay, so basically we have write line, we do that, and then I want to return an error, which is going to be an error exit code, new const 2, and that's what we return from this. I wonder if I should just straight up return and do that. Mismatch types, expected error found, error exit code. Oh, I don't want it to return. I just want an error from the match to go into this, which I think is fine, right? Because that's a result. So that's this match returning from you. I think the rest of our problem now is this is the only thing returning the proper error, kind of. There's a bunch of other issues. Let's see. Use a question mark operator to extract the result, Eric's code value. Yeah, but I don't know if I want that. Okay. We'll have to deal with this one at a time because this is a fairly beefy if let here. Okay, so we handled the else at this point. And the match, okay, so not found is this. That's to do, okay, so this is the end of our match. This is the end of our if let. So we want to return results from here, which I think we're already doing, right, because of this echo. Because echo is returning a result error exit code. We're returning an error here, which is perfectly fine. It's now for you. Okay, so if we do find the executable, our first, okay, so we want to get the first command name. We extract that out. Now, we could definitely do things with cows and do the two lossies. That's probably a good thing to do, but it's not part of this refactor, or rewrite, so we don't need to do that right now. We figure out what the commands are. So first command and the arguments, we put that together. Standard out. Okay, so if matches, command start out, command output standard. What? Let's see. What are we trying to do here? What was? I feel like we were trying to get. Okay, so if our command standard output. Oh, I know. If our command is standard out, we're extracting this out so we know whether or not we are actually printing to standard out because of block versus what was it called? I forget but basically the standard out of like something like head won't process until standard in is done normally, but like for a normal shell it would kind of sort of do that if it's actually connected to standard out and it's an entire thing, and so we have to handle that. Okay, so standard out, and I did test this. I tried to use pipes to sort of see if I could not do this and these shenanigans, and unfortunately I couldn't figure it out. So if we're going, okay, so if our command is supposed to print to standard out, then I want to do I wonder if I want to just do some next commands IO, because if I give them that gives us the standard out. Otherwise, what are we doing? Are we returning it? This is piping, right? Because, oh yeah, if we're standard out, we just go straight to standard out, which I think we have to do. Except if because if we're piping this, that's another thing altogether, which I'm not handling now because we have a different method of doing piping. And so that this changes too. So we actually already have our command name and we have the arguments for this specific command, I believe. And we can verify that with command name. Okay, so if we just ignore everything else in here, let's take you out. You're yelling at me because I need to return, let's say an okay, like that. Okay, so if I were to do something like ls dash l pipe to cat, I don't know, dash something, we can see that the first time through the loop, we get ls with arguments dash l, and the second time through the loop, we get cat with arguments dash something. So the new system is working fine. So we get this one at a time with the appropriate command name and arguments. So we do need to find this executable, and if we don't find the executable, we need to print this error out. You're not supposed to be an exit code here. You're something else, aren't you? What does this function, what is our run function? It's just a result. Oh, this is an anyhow result. So here, I don't need a map error. I just do this like that. And then here you're returning error, if and else. Okay, so my if does need if let sum, and if I just return okay like that, that makes you okay. I don't need you. Cannot borrow you as mutable, as next command IO is not mutable. make immutable. Okay, so now I should be able to do command not found. So if I just do something like that, command not found, excellent. When we run the command, if we're piping, so we need to know if we're piping or not. If we are piping to the next command, we don't pass in anything. Let's see, and also here, first command name, I'm gonna kind of have the command name from this, don't I? So I don't need you because either I found it from this or I didn't. Okay, so let mute commands. Okay, so this is trying to combine them together, but I don't think we need to do that because we have our command name and commands. So I need to do that. Okay, standard out if matches. So this is trying to tell our external execution, should we be linking up, should we be piping our output or just printing it or inheriting our output? And if we pipe our output, we need to send it to standard out. Otherwise, we need, okay, so I think here we can pass in if we're piping command standard out. So I don't need you. Okay, so we also check to see what kind of command, what we're doing with our command for standard error. If we're writing this out, I don't know if we need this here at all either. We don't need to append you or do anything else like that. We do need to then run our external command. We have our, okay, what do we care about? We have our command name. I don't care about you, do I? We have our command name and we have the arguments, and then we have the next command IO, and then we have are we piping? That's pretty much all I need. Oh, ad break in 5 minutes. Okay, so I feel I'm gonna have to go back and forth with this. Run external. So we have our command name, the next command IO. So command IO is gonna be command IO. You're also mutable. Next after that is, forgot arguments, which is just a vector of strings. Arguments. You're a vec string. I need to update you. Your command is just you're just a command name. You're a string. And then is piping, I think, is the last one. Yeah, is piping. Piping is a Boolean. Okay, we're not going to return anyhow results. We're going to return a result, an error, exit code. Okay, so we don't need to iterate through our commands. We don't need to cache anything here. We're doing that outside now. So this is going to be a lot simpler, which means I don't need this to be a loop. Okay, I don't need to extract the command name and arguments. We have that already. Okay, so we begin by creating a brand new command, new, and then hand it the command name. Excellent. We add the arguments to the command. Let's see. Okay, so I don't care about standard error being piped. Is that true? I feel like I should pass in the command itself, shouldn't I? Also, I haven't saved that one. Do I have command name as part of that? Because I don't think I have arguments. I wonder if I should change this to command. What do I have in command? I have the built-in commands, which is not found, which gives me, we know that it's not found by this time, which would give me the name of that. Standard out and standard error. Standard out and standard error. I feel that I should check this in here. And then where do I have? Ooh, I am matching like this though. Because I'm matching command built-in command, which is how I get the command name and arguments. I do need the command out because I think we're going to run into a weird, so if I try to pass in a command like this, first off, if I do that, why am I returning an okay right away? I think I need to do that. second of all, oh, ad break started. I am going to go grab some caffeine, which will help out during this ad break. So I will be back in 3 minutes. I think I have an ad break here too. Oh, I forget what, I think it was like figlet. Well, I misspelled that, but I don't know how readable that is. Let's try that again. 3 minutes. Okay, I will have to play around with figlet to make it a little bit easier to read. But I will be back in a couple minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to get myself some caffeine. All right, welcome back. Okay. So we need to figure out, let's see, we found a command. This command is a type command. I don't need to take ownership of it, so I might actually be able to get away with something like that. In built-in commands, no, not built-in commands, and run external executable. So if I take the command, which is a reference to a command, which is that, your arguments are incorrect. Commands, we have command name is next. Takes 5 arguments, but 6 were supplied. Okay, so the command name, arguments. Oh, command again. Okay, so now you're happy here. Now it's the result of this error. Result exit code. That should be fine, right? Couldn't convert the error exit code. Centered error is not satisfied. Oh, because you're not an okay, so hold on. In error, we have error exit code. I need to implement error on this. Can I impl error, or can I derive error for a struct? And if not, I can just bail. That would work too. So derive error, debug. Yeah, no, I would need to implement display for it, which actually is that the only thing I care about? So I could do that. Impl display or error exit code. Okay, so we're just gonna write line our F. This is gonna be there was an error. Sure, there was an error. Ooh, okay. So that does work here. And this is what I was worried about. Borrow a partially moved value command. Partial move occurs because value has type of vec of string, which does not implement the copy trait. And we move that here with our arguments. Now, can I get, yeah, I would love to be able to take the arguments out as a, that's not gonna be happy. So yeah, this is a problem here. Now, I can't clone it at this point. I could potentially clone the command up here. However, the only things I really care about here are to know whether or not we're piping, I guess, standard error. I should just always redirect standard error. So maybe that's what I'll just do. I'll always redirect standard error, and then we'll handle that elsewhere. And in fact, can I pass in, so standard IO from, and this is going to be our command IO standard error. I can. Okay, so I created basically a new standard error. I pipe that directly in. That's going to go out to standard error. If commands iter peak, okay, so there is no commands iter peak, and centered out redirect is something. So this is redirecting or, okay, so for redirecting or piping, then we need to command centered out pipe that. So maybe this shouldn't be is piping, but is piping centered out. That's really what I care about here. Is piping centered out, but we need to update our library to maybe be a little bit more intelligent about this. So instead of and is command, I don't think we can take in command at all like that, because that makes you happy. Okay, so is piping. I need to find a better a better thing for this, because we need to know if this is going to be let um, pipe standard out. So let should pipe standard out equals, we're going to do if. Okay, so obviously if we're piping standard out, so if that's true, we're good to go there. Or if we're matches, our command standard out and command, oh, it's not a command, it's what are you? You are a output. Okay, so if you're a create file, wait, do I have a command standard out? Ooh, I don't have any method on this. Don't think I have I don't think I have any impl on this either. But what we could do is add one. So impl, what should we do? I could do is just standard. So is standard or is appending. But I think is standard is going to be easier. So impl and output function is standard. We'll take in a reference to self. Return a Boolean. We can just say matches self and self standard. Okay, then here, okay, this is going to be a command standard out is standard. Okay, so if either of those are true, then that becomes false, which means I don't need to have an if here. This just becomes should pipe out is piping out standard out. And if that's the case, I can get rid of you, put you in there. There. So run external now checks that. We now have a Boolean in here. So we just say if is piping standard out, command standard out is piped. Otherwise, it's inherit. If some previous standard out. Okay, so this is handling standard in. We don't have that right now, so I'm gonna remove it. We'll have to deal with that soon. Okay, so we create our child. I don't need to do anything with standard error right now. Commands iter peak sum. I don't need to do anything with that. Don't need to do anything with cache child. We're not doing anything crazy here. We're not doing anything crazy here. Okay, so wait with output. Don't know if I want to wait with output. Actually don't know if I want to wait at all. Ooh, but we're gonna need to do something with this, aren't we? If it's our last one, I think we have to wait. But if it's not the last one, we don't want to wait because it's just sort of running. And if we wait on like a tail-f or something like that, that's not great. That's not what we want at all. So basically, if we're not piping standard out, so if not is piping standard out, then we can child.wait. Didn't check to see. I actually can get the exit code from this, can't I? So what would this be? This would be if let, can I match this? Match wait. That gives me an exit status and error. Okay, so wait. We are going to not do anything there. Okay, so okay, I think is the error. No, exit status. So if you're successful, I just want to return an okay with nothing in it. We're fine. So we don't actually care about you because it's an exit status 0. If you're an error, I probably don't really care about this error right now. I might, for debugging purposes, want to do something like that. But we're going to return an error exit code, new const, and I don't think we get. Oh, I think it's a little bit more complex than this. Let's do something like 254. This could be an error. Because I think if I do exit status dot, yeah, I get a code. Success. Okay, so if exit status dot success, we're gonna turn okay like that. Else, we're gonna turn error. It has to be an error exit code, new I don't think I can do a new const because we don't know when this is going to happen. So this is an error exit code with the exit status of code, unwrap or 255, and we return that. Okay. Tempted to take value of method success. Method is not a field. Okay, so your method. I might need to do that as a return. Do that. Okay. Otherwise, we're returning an okay like that. We don't care. Okay, so attempted to take value of method code, which is a method. So do that. Cannot initialize you with private data. I don't have like a new. I could do a new that's not a new const. So just pub function new, which takes in a standard I don't think I can take in like an I32, right? So if I take code, which is an I32, self, I don't think I can do self code because you're going to yell at me saying, hey, this needs to be a non-zero, standard num non-zero, I32. So that's great there. You become the new like that. You wanted a non-zero. Okay, so can I do like an into? I don't remember what options I have here. Oh, I could do consider calling non-zero new unwrap. That works. So if I do non-zero, come on, pull that in. And then I want to that one. We'll just unwrap, or 255 is my sort of like catch-all of like the end. Oh, but you need to be okay. So non-zero new 255. Expected non-zero found. You can definitely be unwrapped. Okay, no problems here. No problems anywhere. I wonder if one command should now work, right? Maybe. So if I have no idea. If I do an ls, we don't get that. If I do an ls, nope. Okay. Either way, that's not. We're not getting any output from this. Now, when I just have one command that should be piping false, which means it should inherit from standard in, we should also wait for it, which means that it should print out to our standard out, like right away. We have our command IO. We're not using that yet. I'm actually kind of surprised that doesn't need to be piped like that, huh? Okay, well first I want to do some good old fashioned print line debugging here. So running external command, and this is the command name. Okay, so one thing at a time. So ls, we'll just do ls. Okay, so running external command ls. We create the command, which is gonna have the command name. So that's good. We give it the arguments, and we bind the error in there. Okay, that's great. Now, if we bind the error in there, if we're piping the output, okay, so this is the next thing. Running external command name. Guess you know what? I'm gonna keep these all in here and we'll just add a bunch in. So print line, piping command output, piping command standard out output. We should not see this. We do see this. Why do we see this? Because you're true. Piping command centered out. This should be false, right? This makes me think that I should let's pipe command standard out. Just putting this up here will allow me to print line this a little bit easier. Print line piping command standard out. Command standard out. Okay, ls. Piping command standard out output. What? Pipe command standard out. Isn't that a bool? Why are you output like that? Oh wait, I was reading the wrong one. Piping command standard out true. Well, Oh, because is standard, I want this to be not. So if you're not standard. There we go. And now our ls works as expected. Perfect. Okay, that's good. Other things that I could do, let's see. So I can remove these print lines now. Logic error. So remove you. Something that I can do is uh set an environment variable to let the command know that it can do colors. If they're available. We can do command uh set an environment variable, and I want to say like term color or like something like that. Go there's something color term. And that is true color. So I want color term color. So if I set that, and now if I do ls-l, I have nothing to display a color. I do have some directories in there. I was hoping, let's see, color term true color. I was hoping that it would give me an output of ls like that. If I do a get status, oh, that works with colors. I think I need man ls. Oh, see, like man ls works with that. I need dash color auto or something like that. ls al color auto. That works. So if I cargo run this, if I do ls al color auto, now I get the colors out of there. So colors, like technically I can get colors working, which we didn't have before, and it's not really required as part of this challenge, but it's kind of nice to actually have that be colorful. It makes it a little bit more usable. Okay, so I have things. That's the very last thing. I should at this point in time also be able to get errors printed out. So if I do an ls, something like that, we get command not found. Okay, that's excellent. I don't get my shell back again. I do not get my shell back. Why is that? Is it because I am attempting to wait? If my command is not found, is that my command not found? Okay, so not found. Oh, because I did LSE. I wanted a different error. But it's also good to know that that is causing problems. So if I do ls that, there was an error. So we're gonna have to handle this slightly better. I return exit code, error exit code. This question mark should actually be fine because the print command not found. Actually, that does successfully go into the error. So we got command not found. I kind of want it to do something like our command name, command not found, something like that. I'm sure it's going to yell at me that I'm supposed to actually print something else when we eventually get to the test. But that's fine. Okay, so we get to here. We get our command results. We print out the command result, and we just copy this to standard error. Okay, so we copied to standard error, and then we're supposed to let some standard out. Then we just move on and go to the next shell thing. Huh. I'm not getting any like $sign anywhere else. So we're getting the command not found. That's printing here. So error printed. I wonder if it's something after copy. Oh, it is copy. Well, I think it's copy. Okay, so about to print the error, command not found, and then I just never get this until it returns an end of file. Do I give it an end of file? Oh, that's a thing. So when I don't get a command, I had thought that write line would give me an end of file there, but it doesn't. What's an end of file? What's the end of file tag? Write line gives me. I shouldn't need to flush it because it's a new line. I never reached here, so I can't do a flush at this point. There's only this one copy that I have. I mean, I could write it out a little bit more, and instead of copy, just actually loop through it until I reach the end of file, or like just read a lines. If I try to put like a new line in here, just out of curiosity's sake. It reads the new line, but not the end of the file. Huh? How do I? The next command IO centered error. I could flush this. Try that. Okay, so flushing doesn't work. Let's see. It's not like there's a EOF or something like that. Is there? I don't think so. Rust, sure. Rust lang, write end file to buffer. I don't think I should have to write this, right? It's just the end of the buffer. I could. Do we need to wrap buff writer around? Oh, and specifically it's code. Sorry, copy. Specifically it's copy. So it's something. So IO copy to standard out. Now it's hanging. I wonder if that's not really helpful. How do I tell standard out copy and Rust to stop reading and finish? That's similar to what I have. Now I know that it's end of file, but okay, so they're just trying to take like a specific amount of information. I do want the entire thing, but I want it to stop, like once it reaches the end. And if it's not reaching the end, does that mean? Okay, so saying like EOF right, steal EOF. That doesn't sound. It sounds interesting, but definitely not what we want. I don't think any of these. I want to write. Let's see. So, write macro EOF to basically to buffer. I wonder also if we want to. Oh, wait. He'll never find the end because the input is still active, which means I need to kill. If we drop, so if we get here, okay, so if we're in a command result fail, I wonder if this means we need to drop. This would be command standard error output, and then there would be an end of file because this is the input, right? Standard error reader, standard error writer, and that's what we put into next command IO. Yeah. Ooh, I was hoping that would work. That if we dropped the command standard error, that would cause it to finish running copy because the pipe had been dropped, but it doesn't. We get that it printed out, but copy never finishes, which makes me think that we can't do copy. Wait a second. Is this the wrong one? Oh, this is the wrong one. I want next command IO. Error. What if I drop you? It's already been dropped because it got moved. Where did it get moved? You got moved to here. Oh, but you got moved to here, but we're in an if. Okay, so right line, next command IO, drop, next command IO, standard error. That might make it work. That's what it was. Okay, so I needed to drop the standard error here. That gives it the end of file. Yeah, we're going to create it again the next loop around, so I can do this again, and that's what I wanted. There we go. Okay, so we can still use copy. I don't need to re-implement that on my own. We're good to go. Okay, so now we can handle standard out when we're the only command or the last command. But now I think we can't handle piped commands. So if I do something like ls and pipe to cat, we get nothing printed out. And what's going on here? I think we're in this point, right? I think we're here. So print line, printing centered out to, I guess printing piped centered out to centered out. Okay, so this is ls pipe to cat. Oh, that's not what that is. This is a previous command standard reader. Is this ever set? Okay, so we have centered out reader, but we didn't get to it. I think we're here, right? Okay, this is our while loop. Oh, this is our while loop. This is our while loop for all the commands in a pipe. So this would be after the commands are run. So I was kind of expecting that to print out here, but yeah, so far this has never been called. However, I think this is where this is. So print line, this is printing piped standard command standard out. Do I want to print here? Probably not, right? Because the command is going to print to standard out because it inherits. If it's not that, okay, what are you? You're nothing. Because we return result that, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so we're being a little bit more specific here with that instead of underscore. I want to say that this is where we're running into. We can kill that. Did I die? Type. Okay, yeah. Printing command centered out. That shows up here. And then I think that shows up here. So after typed commands are done. So type. Yeah. Okay. So this is the last command. This is printing standard out of last command if we need to. I think that's the key, is if we need to print the last command, we will here. But that's not always the case. And then here is we're handling standard out of I guess like current command in pipe chain. So handling standard out of current command in pipe chain, I don't actually know what that is because we're not inside of command result anymore. We're outside of here. Do I have access to this? Piping command centered out is up here. And then the command centered out is up here. Oh, I have both these, which means if I take it out of this let and I put you in here, you're still going to be fine down there. But now we can know if we're piping, I need to, if piping command centered out, and I called it if, yeah, pipe command centered out. Really, I can make this a little bit easier. I can just say like, hey, don't delete everything. Here. Okay, so do that. Okay, so pipe command centered out. Now the only thing we have here, if pipe command centered out. Okay, so if we're piping the command centered out, then I want to take standard out. So that's our current. Okay, so standard out writer. So instead of piping or like printing to inherited standard out, we have piped it to the standard out writer, which means our standard out reader is going to be pushed into here, which is fine. I don't do anything. I don't print anything. I guess I'll just print line that for right now. But we're not really doing anything with this. I could probably just simplify this to if error. Centered in. Oh, you know what we need to do? We need to copy you. Oh, who checks borrows? Yeah, that's I guess Rust, which is just a pile of mushrooms. That checks our borrows, right? Right, because we're going to be reading from standard in. Oh, that would be you. Okay, well then in that case, please check my borrows. Oh, and I borrow checker. Yeah, that does make sense. Who checks the borrow checker though? Yeah, I mean more good questions, right? Okay, so the ad starts in 4 minutes, or a little bit later than 4 minutes because Twitch. So just a heads up for that. Supervisor. But then who checks the supervisor? Like it's gonna like there's an infinite loop here. Okay, so I need to write into so standard in reader. What am I storing? I'm storing the previous command standard reader is the standard out reader. But do I need to do that? Should I really be storing away the standard in reader? Because I feel that then it's only being checked here. If let sum centered out, and you're not, you are printing standard out of the last command. If we need to, are being used. So if I get rid of that, that's not great. So this is more of if we're piping standard out, I want to IO copy. This is the standard out reader, and then the writer to the standard in writer. Let's see, cannot mutate. Okay, so standard out reader and standard mutable. Mutable. Okay, fine. You don't need to be mutable. Standard out reader as mutable. It's not declared. Oh, this one. That's why. Okay, and then you borrow move value. So standard out reader is moved at the beginning of. Oh, I'm putting in here in the previous command's standard reader. Oh, okay. The previous command standard reader. So if you're okay, I don't know if I need to see. We're within the while loop. Previous command standard reader, but I'm still inside the while loop, right? I am. W discovered you notice I discovered the toggles Lemmings channel. I've been in there for a while, but I haven't I lurk for most of the time, but every once in a while I post something. For everybody else who's not in there, Togglebits Lemmings channel is sort of like an AI. Sort of like chat channel on Togglebits Discord. Okay, ad break is gonna start any second now. And I'll probably go off and use the restroom and then come back and sort of think about this a little bit more. But I'm thinking that I don't need to store this away right here. Sorry, where is it? I don't need to store it right here because I still need this. And if I move it, that kind of sucks. If I store it away later, we'll do it later. Okay, ad break started. 3-minute ad break, and then we'll be right back. So I'm gonna go use the restroom. Okay, so basically, I want to. I mean, I could take it, but it doesn't even make sense for me to store this in there until after at like the end of the loop, does it? Because here I need it. Because if we're piping standard out, I need that. I copy whatever it's into standard in, and then it's a none. Otherwise, it's going to be a sum of what it is. Okay, so basically, if we're piping a command out, then that. Otherwise, I'm going to put this here, right? So, and our previous commands, our reader, equal to a none. Right, so now I can copy. Okay, so we're copying our standard out reader into the standard in writer. There is nothing in the standard out, but that's what we're getting here. So if we're not piping, then we do that. And then, okay, so things should still work the way they worked before, right? So if I like echo hello, that should still work. ls should still work. Type errors, all that stuff still works. I shouldn't have an extra line, which makes me think I shouldn't do a right line here. Maybe a right. Oh, it's I can do a right line. I just don't need that. That's what that is. Okay. Now we have standard in. I need to pass standard in though, because we're losing our standard in reader gets lost. So our previous command standard reader, I want this to be standard out. This is standard out reader. I want to let mute previous commands standard in reader. There's an option. I mean, you'll figure out what it's going to be eventually. So we set you to be none. And for everything that takes something from standard in, which really is just going to be this executable file, this is going to be previous commands standard in reader. So this is going to be standard in, which is going to be an option, a pipe reader, like that, right? Okay, so we have if, and okay, so before we spawn it, we're just going to say if let sum is standard in equals standard in. Our command standard in is going to be standard IO from standard in. So now that gets piped from standard in. Um, you're happy with that. Use of moved value. So I want to take you. Use of move value in a previous iteration of this loop. I need to reset you and save you again every single loop. So basically, if we print the command, okay, so when do I want to reset this? Because we need to save you, right? Okay, so if command centered out, we copy the standard in writer, we save none to that, so previous standard in reader equals sum standard in reader. And then if it's none, our previous standard in reader becomes a none. Use a move value. Okay, so our standard in reader got moved. Previous command standard in reader got moved here. I could, it got moved. Wait a second. Move occurs because standard in reader has type pipe reader, which does not implement the copy trait. Okay, so I could take in standard in reader. I wonder if I want to take here. Okay, so that kind of works. I think we'll have to update the rest of it, but okay. So use a move value centered in reader. Value used here after move. So standard in reader because we read from standard out to standard in writer. Move occurs. Okay, so here's where the value got moved. Oh, right. Okay. I don't need to pass in. How does this work? I have standard in reader, but this is the new standard in reader, right? I need you to have not this standard in reader, but the previous standard in reader. I feel like I need a new. If I take in standard in, if I make you an option like that, okay, and make you option there. This isn't that. This is going to be now the previous command standard in reader. You're going to need to take this. But if that's the case, I don't need to pass you in because now we have this in there. We have you in there. We if let sum centered in equals command IO standard in. We have no errors there. Okay, so now if I ls and pipe to cat, okay, so no crashes at least. Handling standard out of current command and pipe chain. Okay, so we got to here. Printing standard out of last command if we need to, so that's down here. I copy from the standard out reader to the standard in writer, which should be set, right? Standard out becomes, ooh, I set that to just piped. And really, I want standard out piped to command. Can I do something like standard IO from command IO standard out? There we go. Now we have that. So now we're properly taking the output of the first command and piping that into cat, which is excellent. And oh, I can't do up arrow. Let's try this again. So if I do ls pipe to cat and then pipe to like head dash n 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we got the 3. Okay, so we have multiple pipes now working. So this is great. And then the big test here, if I touch like touch test, so cargo run, I want to get rid of my prints. We have you, I think that's all of them. We have ls, we have nothing. We have ls pipe to cat. Okay, so the big one that we're going for here is we want to tail dash f test. We want to pipe to head dash n 5. Perfect. That's what we want to see. Now, if I echo hello and append it to test, ooh, I was really hoping that would show up here because that's what we wanted to see, is that head is appending to standard out. So tail should be sending to centered out, which then gets copied to centered in. Let's put like, ooh, I have a bunch of things in here now, but that never finished. So that's a problem. So this is the big reason of why we did. Well, I guess it's not the big reason. We got it figured out last time, but this time, oh, it's not working the way we want it to. So tail-f, I don't want it to finish running. So this is where maybe potentially a thread comes in. Do I need to throw each command into a thread? So that way it could run behind the scenes and do its stuff while we're waiting on the next one. Because I'm curious now. Are we even getting to head? So here we are in our run external. So about to run command name. So if I cat to test, so you're an empty file now. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do tail-f test pipe to head-n5. Okay, so about to run tail, we never get to head because why? Because we're waiting. If we're not piping standard out, are we getting to here? So waiting on command name. You're borrowed. Fine, we'll just wait for you. Okay, so tail-f test pipe to head-n5. About to run tail, we never get here, probably because, okay, so we leave, but I mean, I spawn you. I guess I lost the command name, so this can be command spawned. Okay, so we did get to command spawned, which means, okay, so we're not piping centered out, but we are piping centered out. So this should exit. So done with this command. So we should get to here. Yeah, okay. So we get to done with this command. So that exits out of run external. We shouldn't get hit by this because we did see that we got to, we're just returning okay. So that means we're if let sum executable. Okay, so we're if let that. We're not in the else. We don't have an error. So we reach to this. Okay, so then we get to you. So if our standard out reader, I want to copy that into here. Now, I think we're running into copy again. This is the problem. So print line, so copying standard out to standard in, then copying standard out to standard in. So I am 99% sure that this is hanging because there's no end of file because we're not dropping standard out. We probably need to drop standard, but we don't want to drop standard out because the tail is waiting on it. And if I do, then that's bad. Unless it can have multiple of them. But no, I think basically we want to manually handle this and not do a copy. We just want to take everything that we get and then throw it in there. But let's try this. So if I do my tail-f test, type to head-n5. Yeah, copy and standard out to standard in. We never reach the end here, so this needs to be a loop where we're gonna create a little buffer. So buffer. If I vec, how do I want to do this? I think we create a bunch of zeros. They're U8s, and let's say I want to create just one of them. So we get 1 byte. I want to read into the buffer. So this is the standard out reader. Now there's take. I wonder if I can just read. So if we read into our buffer, this returns a result usize. So let red count is that. If our red count is 0, then I can actually just write this into our other buffer, can't I? So that's going to be standard in writer. We could just do a write into our standard in writer. This is the buffer. I don't know if that's right. This might be weird because I want to buffer to this. I could to character it, but I don't think write is actually formatted data. I don't think I want to write formatted data. I want to write bytes to it. So I want to center in writer. We're gonna write a buffer to this writer. Okay, so write buffer to this writer. That okay, and then if the read count, I don't think there is 0. So if that's equal to 0, then we're gonna break because we're done. Otherwise, we're gonna continue on reading from centered out and then writing to that. And so as soon as we're done with this, we're done copying and centered out. Okay, so then maybe this will work. So tail dash f test type to head dash n5. Yeah, but my echo hello test doesn't properly. This never finishes. Copy and centered out to centered in. This never breaks. Why is that? This never breaks because the tail is the tail never finished, never writing. I mean, it's not blocking because we got to this point. I create a buffer. I'm reading to the buffer. If I print line, our buffer is, we just print out where the buffer is. We'll probably get a lot of things here. So tail dash f test pipe to head dash n5. Okay, that's I think echo hello with a new line, right? HELLO with a new line. Okay, what's my read count? Read count. Is that not 0? Whoa. Don't comment out. Also save. Okay, so on tail dash f test pipe to head dash n5. My read count is 1. Okay, so it hits to here, which is fine, but it never hits again. So I write out to the buffer, which includes the new line. That's written out. But read count is never 0 because this is waiting. So I need to is it not reader? It's not read. Let's see. I guess I could wrap it around a buffer and maybe that's better. Pull some bytes from the source into the specified buffer, returning how many bytes were read. This function does not provide any guarantees about whether or not it blocks waiting for data, but if an object needs to block for a read and cannot, if the return value of this method is okn, then implementations must guarantee that n is greater than 0 and less than a buffer length. A non-zero n value indicates that the buffer buff has been filled in with n bytes of data from this. Okay, so I think we need to check to see if we got a new line. Let's see. If I wrap this in a buffer, is this the last time we're using standard out reader? I think that's in an else here. Okay, so basically we're consuming standard out reader here. So I can convert this into a buffer here. So let our wrapped centered out reader equals a buff reader new standard out reader. You need to be mutable. Okay, so I could get just lines from this. I'm curious, what options do I have here? So I want to consume, so it might block. Okay, reads the exact number of bytes required to fill the buffer. This function. Okay, so it will have an unexpected end of file if it ends, which is not what I want. Fill buffer returns. I don't think I want that. Lines. I can get an iterator over lines of it. Reads all bytes into a buffer until the delimiter byte or end of file is reached. That feels like I want lines here. So if I have lines, so for line in lines, that does give me, okay, so then I can write, it's probably a line because I think we might lose it. I might be able to get away with just write. This is going to be the standard in writer, and I want to write the line like that. I don't need to do any of this. You don't return. Oh, okay. I thought you returned a result, but oh, each line is a result. That's what it is. I don't think I can do that. Yeah. Apparently you don't need to be mutable. Okay, let's try. See if you're okay here. So if I do a tail dash f test type to head dash n5, copy and standard out to standard in, so we got to here, but we never get to here. And if I do echo, that doesn't show up here. So my echo, the standard out is from command standard out. Okay. So basically I am piping standard out to our command standard out. So that should, and we know that's in there because we can see that here. We can see our standard out reader is getting hello. Let's see if we actually getting the hello here. I am. Okay, so I'm getting both the hellos, but they're not being sent to our standard in that we want. That's our potential. Let's see. So that means we are writing to standard in writer, but we're never getting our end of file, are we? And I don't want to wait forever because I'm getting potentially multiple lines. How do I know when to break out of this loop when there's nothing more in the buffer? And by that I mean like it's a bunch of zeros. I could run into weird errors depending upon how I do this. So I don't think the lines is right because I get this one, but I don't know that there's no next one, right? I don't think this implements into like I don't think I can get a bytes out, right? I don't think I can like for like bytes or byte in that. Yeah, I need to turn it into an iterator. This transforms return type implements iterator where item is result, IO error. Yielded item is okay if the byte was successfully read and error if otherwise. End of file is mapped, returning to none from this iterator to returning none. But I think we're waiting. I think we're waiting on the byte regardless. Because if I do this, if I print line, I guess let our byte equals print line got byte like that. Without even like writing something else, I think we'll be able to see that this we never get done. And I get the new line, but I don't get any zeros. Like I don't get anything like that. We're getting an error here, but my question mark would return out of the entire function, which would exit the shell. So we're not getting an actual result, like an error in the result. It is just waiting in the iterator for the next thing. So to me, I think I should set I think we should do our infinite loop again. We create our buffer and I set this to be a vector. I 0 initialize this, or maybe I -1 initialize this to, I probably should 0 initialize it because I don't think there's like a space is like something else too, right? So 0, and if I do something like 1,000 bytes in this, I wrap centered out reader, I pull maybe mutable, so let red equals to that. That's our usize. I bet if red is, I bet red is going to be less than 1,000 here. So we're going to get the least of those, which means I need to convert the buffer to a string. Well, actually I don't need to because I can just write this out, but it has a bunch of like zeros in it. So I could filter this out if I have zeros. I wonder if I could cow string it to lossy string. I don't know if I want to do that either, but I could. Since we're printing out this might work. I do feel that I want to like remove everything that, like I want to let our input here, our input bytes. This is probably gonna have to be a vector. So we initialize a new vector. We have our buffer. I want to take our buffer and remove all the zeros from it, if there are any. And basically, if our buffer size, say this is 1,000, buffer size there, if our read is less than our buffer size, now we know in the else case, our read is greater than buffer size. That means I can just take the entire buffer size and, take our entire buffer and we append it to this. So input bytes, we can append buffer, and we continue on, right? We're less than buffer size. I need to remove all of the zeros. I don't have anything like, there's something like keep or something like that. I forget what it's called. Retain only the element specified by the predicate. So in other words, remove all elements for E for which function E returns false. So I want to retain, this is the byte. If the byte does not equal to 0, retain it. Does this mutate in place? Operates in place. Okay, so I don't need to return anything. Yeah, we just do that. Which in that case, I don't need this else at all. Okay, so if our byte is not equal to 0, so if it's positive, we keep it. Otherwise, it goes away. We append you. If our read is, I wonder if I just keep you like this. Okay, so we'll retain you. We'll do that. And then if read was less than buffer size, then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to break because we're done here. Now, if our buffer is exactly the same size as whatever input is, then this could potentially put us into an infinite loop because we'll try to read, and I don't think that will work out very well, but maybe it would work. I don't know. It's possible that things would work the way we want to. So now we have our input bytes, and I want to copy, so we're going to just our standard in writer. Let's write all from the input bytes. Let's standard in writer and flush this, and then we're done. Tail-f test head-n5. Okay, so I get hello, hello, but now, okay, so that worked technically, but the hello-n, that was waiting. Do I not want to flush? I need to basically not exit out. Like we're still running on this. And I didn't save. I think I do want to flush though, right? Because that actually sends it in, but maybe we're fine. Yes, the flush doesn't matter here. This prints, okay, so this is going to standard in. Done copy and standard out to standard in. Previous command standard out reader is none. Previous command standard in reader is some. Or standard in reader, so we keep that for next time around. About to run head, command spawned, waiting on command. We never got to this because it is, hold on, are you hearing that? My dog is, or the dog is just yelling a lot. Hold on, I'm gonna check what's going on. My niece is here. And whenever my niece is here, the dog goes crazy. He loves her. And so he just barks. Especially when she's inside and he's outside. Okay. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about this because they're, let's see. What are we doing here? We want to, and what can we do? Oh, ad starts in 5 minutes. Oh, and we got you. No, I don't need your viewers. Goodbye. Okay, so we got to waiting on command. So we're no longer piping a scenario input. So now we're waiting, but wait actually ends it. So I think we want to try wait because I think we don't actually want to do this, right? And again, this is potentially where the thread would come in because then I could wait on this. And when it's done, and then we just join we would join the thread if it's the last thing. Otherwise, we don't join a thread unless we're going to do some kind of like thread pool or something like that. Thread when a thread exits, I think it exits the thread and it auto joins it, if I remember correctly. But it's been a while since I've done something like that. And if I do an infinite loop here while I'm waiting, I don't think that's right either. I'm not gonna. Okay, so I wouldn't handle the non-exit code. Basically, if I don't do U at all, or maybe I'll do this match. We're gonna just do okay like that. Tail dash F test pipe to head dash N5. Okay, now you're waiting. So if I do my echo, oh, it's close. I added an echo to this. That sits there not doing anything, not continuing to print. So I got my waiting for on command, but nothing else here is happening. F test pipe to head dash N5. Now I have all three in there, but I'm not really waiting, right? Because it's kind of done, kind of isn't done. So this makes me think that we do need to have a thread and spawn the commands inside of it. And then if we're not piping the centered out, then I wait here. Then I join the last thread. Otherwise, we don't join. That's what I'm thinking. We have an ad coming up, ad break. So I'm thinking I will start that now. Let's click the button. That'll start in any second now. Then we'll take our 3-minute break. Oh, it started. Okay. We'll take our 3-minute break and we'll come back and implement threads for our command. I will be right back. All right, welcome back. I think I know what's going on here. I vaguely remember somewhere reading that when the child is dropped, it basically stops the process, like stops what's going on. And because we switch things to calling each command one at a time as opposed to like sort of storing the children, then the children are dropped at the end of this, which will basically make sure that they don't really run for a long time. That's the reason why we need to use spawn threads. Now, that's based on memory. I could be wrong, and maybe something else is going on. But I think that losing the child here is our problem. So if I were to spawn the command in a thread, which, I mean, is there a reason why I wouldn't just do this here, right? So if I thread spawn here, we would move. We would get the handle here, right? So this would be the thread handle. So if I start throwing a command in here, so we're fine right here now. You need to be in here too. If we're piping centered out, these are all fine. So I create the child. So that is all in here. Okay, so at this point, I can unwrap you, which would I wonder if this crashes the thread or if it crashes the entire program. I'm not actually sure. So the unwrap might be wrong, and I might just want to say like, hey, it's okay. Okay, so if we're piping centered out, then actually that doesn't happen here, does it? I do this down here still. So if we're piping centered out, I want to our thread handle join this. Otherwise, we leave it running. And we will. You are a result, right? Yeah. Stop it. Map error. Okay, so map error. I want you to be. I don't really care what you are. Going to be an exit error. Code error. Const. Let's do like 200. There. Well, okay. Mismatch types. Okay. If is that and spawned. Okay, so no errors anymore. Let's see if this works. One change at a time, right? So tail dash F test head dash N 5. So the new echo that goes in, but that doesn't come into here. So that's, I think the intermediary standard out, standard in isn't working. I need to take the standard out from the previous command and probably return it so I can pass it into the next one. But of course, I've lost it now. So that won't work. So maybe the threads aren't what we need. So if I remove our thread stuff that we just did, still in thread, I think. Okay, so we're back to here. What if we return a result? We don't always know we need to return this. This is going to be an option, and the standard out, I think, is a child standard out. Okay, so if piping standard out, actually, I could just, you know what? We could just return the child. What if we just return the child? So I don't need to do any of this. We spawn the child, and then we just return okay child. Can be mutable. It's not an option child, right? I'm just returning, yeah, just returning the child. Okay, so executable, run external. So that's our child equals this. Okay, so I have our child here. If there's a standard out on it, I need to store it so it can be passed into the next one. But it's a special standard out, so this, okay, we would need to cache the previous standard out here. So let mute previous child, previous external child equal to do none. I can just blindly assign you every single time. So previous external child equals some child. And then we return that, okay. And then when we can always pass you in too. So this is the previous external child. So previous child is a option child. Wait, find. No, that's not what I want. Not in find. I want that in run external. So previous external child. So previous child is going to be an option child. Okay, so we always have the child, but okay, so if we're piping standard out, it's not that. It's kind of this, but it's really going to be, I mean, actually, maybe. So if let some standard in equals, should I, oh, I probably need this as a double, right? So previous child equals previous child. Okay, so if we have a previous child, so we're not the first one, and also it's piping standard out. So if let some standard out equals our previous child, this would not be here if we weren't piping. Then I can set our command standard in to be standard IO from standard out. Let's see how this works. So tail-f test pipe to head-n5. Oh, that ends right away and doesn't write any of them. Oh, that's fun. Okay, so I'm gonna do some print lines here to see whether or not these are being wired up. So have a previous child, and then print line previous child has a standard out, I guess. As a piped, really. So tail-f test pipe to head-n5. Okay, so about to run tail, command spawned, copying standard out to standard in. Oh, I don't want to do that. Okay, so is piping standard out? I don't want this at all. Basically, oh, you know what we want? If we're piping, we use the next child, the previous child. But if we're not piping, then do I need this at all? I don't actually know if I need is piping anymore. I don't know if I need that. we do know, let's see. Okay, I do need to know if our piping because we need to set our standard out to just be piped. So standard IO piped like that. What? You're not gonna control C? Oh, why can't I control C? Oh, there it goes. I don't know what that was about. Okay, tail dash F test pipe to head dash N5. Okay, we have 4 things in there. Aha, okay. So now this is working. That last one didn't show up, so I want to cat to test and reset this. So I want to try this again. Tail dash F test pipe to head dash N5. Nothing shows up. Okay. But if there's one thing in there, I think we're fine. That's weird. What is in test? Nothing is in there. So about to run tail, command spawned, copying standard out to standard in. I don't think we need to do any of that anymore. So I don't need to do any of this. I mean, I wonder if I need to do command result. If there's an error, we print out the error. Is that what I'm doing? Yeah, if there's an error, we print out the error and then we continue on. And if I go back to you're doing nothing. Okay, so tail dash F test pipe to head dash N5. Okay, about to run tail. Command spawned. About to run head. Have a previous child. Previous child has a standard out. Command spawned. And then we need to wait. We need to wait for you. So at the end of this, we command spawned. That's the reason why I need to wait for this, because if you're, I guess in here, we could also wait for it. I run the external, we get the child. So if piping command centered out, so if we're done, actually, I just need to know if we're empty, don't I? If this is the last one. So if the commands is empty, so if commands if empty, so if we're in the last one, then I wait for it. So child.wait, you need to be mutable. All right, let's see if that makes you happy. Okay, tail F test pipe to head dash N5. We wait for you. We have nothing in here, so we're gonna do our echo. That showed up 3 times. That showed up 6 times. That doesn't seem right. Okay, so I'm printing it out 3 times for every one that it's actually in there, but it correctly exited as soon as we got only the 5 items in. And if I cat test, we do see that there's only 5 things in here. So that the command ran fine, but I'm getting too many print lines. And that even began from the beginning. Okay, so what's going on there? We have our previous child. We have, I'm printing okay out to here, but this is after all the commands are done. And wait blocks. So I don't think that it's this. Let's just in case I don't understand what's going on here. This is printing standard out. I should also do test. Okay, tail dash F test pipe to head dash N5. Okay, so okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that did I have like, okay, I don't know what's going on here. This is printing standard out. This is if I'm doing anything crazy like type. That didn't work at all. Cool. Great. ls works just fine. Cat test works just fine. Type ls doesn't work. Exit works just fine. Okay. So our printing the standard out no longer works because I'm not printing it to standard out. So I need on the very last one of run external. Okay, we have a previous child. There's no standard out. Oh, but that's not a this problem. when I do type, that prints the standard out here. I match the command result. We're done. That continues on. We run out of commands. We get back to here. My previous command standout reader is this. Oh, I never get that. Are you a none? So let me. Is it because I took it at some point in time? It's probably going to be a none, isn't it? So type. Yeah, it's a none. So what happened to you? Oh, wait. There's no reference to it anymore. I never write the previous command standout reader. Well, that's why we should look at our warnings, isn't it? Okay, so at the end of view, so our standard out reader, we never save. So I guess what I could do is just say our previous command standard out reader equal to our standard out reader. Oh, some standard out reader. Okay, type. Okay, now I have access to that again. Nope, don't want to do that. I'll come back up here. Get rid of this print line. This print line. Okay, let's try this again. So if I cat test, I reset you. All right, full test. So if we run this, we should be able to echo hello world. That works. I should be able to type ls, type nothing like that. Should be able to ls that, ls with an error. That doesn't work. About to run ls command spawned. Okay, so we don't. I do write to standard error, so we do that. But when we wait for the command, we need to know whether or not it was an error, don't we? And how do we know if it's an okay? If command result is an error, and command result comes back from the match. Okay, so where's my wait? There. Okay, so if command is empty, child wait, I need to access the result. So that's I guess if I match, we're gonna have an okay exit status. If the exit status is okay, so we need to exit out of here. So they're gonna have if exit status. What are you? Oh, what are you? Exit status dot something. That just gives me a boolean, right? Hold on. Let exited child equals child dot wait. Waits for the child to exit completely, returning the status that it exited with. I think we tried wait with output also. If I wait with output, that gives me output. Exit child dot. I might not get output though. So like, yeah, okay. So I don't want to wait with output. I just want to wait. I just want to wait. That waits for it to exit. I might have. Oh, I should never have any standard. Yeah, that's actually interesting. ls didn't work. Oh, it's the error that didn't work. It's when the error happened. So yeah, I exit child dot. That's what it is. I need to know if it's successful. So if success, I guess we don't do anything. So if it's only not successful, if you're not successful, we need to return a command result with the code in it. So an error exit code new from the exited child code, unwrap or 255. Okay, so attempted to take my method code. I keep on forgetting that is a method. It's non-zero. Found type I32. Okay, so I need to do a non-zero. Wait, so new takes in a non-zero? I need to wrap this around. This is a terrible use of this. I don't like it, but I want to get it working first. That doesn't make any sense. So child code unwrapper 255. So if and so else it's okay like that because I want this to be a result. If commands is empty, else. It really isn't here. Okay, found enum. Okay, so error exit code. I need to update you. You should not take in a not. You should just take in an I32, and then let's see, self code, and then this I will say you're a non-zero. I mean, I could do a new unchecked, throw in a code in here, and then I think it crashes if that doesn't work. Oh, and see, it needs an unsafe block. I don't want to do unsafe. Let's just unwrap it. So new, do you have a new? You do have a new. Throw in a code. We'll just do unwrap or 255. You need an unwrap or. Fine. We'll just unwrap. Okay, so new. I can just do the code here. So this is going to be the exited child code. Unwrap you like that. Because there always should be some kind of code on a child when it's done. Use of the moved child. Okay, so the previous external child, I can just take it. I think that makes you happy. No errors. Out of curiosity, let's try this. So if I ls, that works. If I ls and pipe to cat, that works. If I type, that works. If I ls nothing at all, we get the error. Okay, so I think we're back. All right. So what are all the things? This is all the commands that we're supposed to run. Also the tail -f test pipe to head -n10 echo 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Yeah. Okay. Everything seems to be working. Redirects. I don't think we have. I think we lost redirect. So if I try to like let's say ls and redirect standard out to let's say test, command spawn to no output. If I cat test, yeah, that didn't actually redirect. I did do piped, so that's good. But you need to at this point. Okay, so I think I do want to git commit this though. Let's remove test. Git commit. All right, so we have using pipes for all commands. Okay, so if we get to here, now I'm just copying this to standard out, but that's not always what we want to do. And this is a problem here because I actually should have gotten, I probably should have gotten the thing printed out to standard out when I did like if I do ls and pipe and redirect to test, I should get that. I get the command spawn. Don't want that. Where was that other print line? Yeah, about to run ls. Where was that from? About to run. I can't find this in the code whatsoever. That's weird. Let me try this again. Maybe I didn't save. So ls to test. Okay, that's good. Cat test. We have no file. So in our run executable, if piping centered out, we're setting that to piped. However, that's not always what we care about. If we have a previous child, we're setting it to this. This is really if we're redirecting, right? If we're redirecting, then we want to pipe it because this should always work now. So this is probably is redirecting. Can I do an else on here? I don't remember if I can do an else, like else is redirecting. Oh, this is working. Okay, cool. For a long time this was nightly only. Okay, so else is redirecting. If I'm redirecting, I want to set. Okay, so we don't have a previous child. Well, I don't think this will work either because the last child, we need to know if we're the last child. That's what it is. We need to know if we're the last child. And so is last child. we also need to know is redirecting. We need to know those two things together. So run external. Nope, didn't want to do that. It is, so 1, 2, 3. The fourth one is that. So 1, 2, 3 is the last child. So this one's easy. We can just check to see if commands are empty. So commands is empty. If the last child, that is true. Otherwise, it is false. And then the last one is redirecting. So I probably want in command, we have our output. Basically, is redirecting is not is standard. So standard out, standard, basically the opposite of this. We're not redirecting. Okay. Then back into here, we can now use these two. Okay, so if we have a previous child, we set standard in to be what that is. But then here we're going to say if, and this is where we set standard out of our command to be piped. Okay, so if we're not the last child, so if not is last child, then command standard out, we just pipe it. Just normal, good old piped. So standard IO piped. Else if is redirecting. So we are the last child. We are redirecting. Our command standard out is going to be a standard IO from our command IO standard out. Okay, I think that makes it happier. So now I can run ls. I can run ls like that. Get no file. Okay, so back to the full testing again. So if I do type, we get that. Type nothing. We can echo hello world. We can do pwd. We can do cd to nothing. pwd. Okay, we're that. We're ls. We see that now. Excellent. Ls pipe to cat. That seems to work. If I cd into p, nope, it's shell rest again. Okay, let's touch test. All right, I want to do tail-f test pipe to head -n5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. ls pipe, no, redirect to test. Ooh. Cat test. Okay. Actually, we haven't updated that, right? So we haven't done anything with it. So that's actually expected. So here we need to write it out to a file if that's what we're expecting. What do I have access to? We have our commands, but we've lost our command, haven't we? So I don't know where we're redirecting to, which means I need to store. So last command, because I'm popping it, I guess that's a problem. It's because I'm popping it, we're losing it. Last command equals, if I do this as a none, making mutable, we pop the front. I bet we're gonna lose it here. I bet I can't actually assign this, can I? So command results, because if I say last command equals some command, yeah, you're partially moved because what did I lose? I took the command name out. I don't care about the command name. Ooh. Taking would be pretty awesome. Can I take? I don't think I can take. So I'm just going to clone you. Oh, wait a second. I can't. This is the argument, so I'm taking it. I can't do that. So what am I doing? I'm matching command, built-in command. So you know what? It's not the best, but I should be able to clone it. Is command clonable? We're gonna make you clonable. This is not the best memory wise. Okay, so built-in command needs to be clonable. Output needs to be clonable. Okay, so last command equals some command clone. Have I already lost command? Oh wait, this is at the end of it. Yeah. Hold on. Don't do that. Just lose you. I want to clone you here. Type it annotations. So what? Last command. As soon as we get the next, where is it? Oh, I guess we get it right here. So let's just do our last command equals some command. We'll clone you. Why not? That's never read. Yeah, I can snooze these last ads. Okay, so now I have you here. So if that sum out, okay, so I want to so if let sum, I always should have the last command. So I should be able to do a let sum last command equals last command. Otherwise, I don't do anything here. I probably should do it if let sum. Okay, so we grab out the last command. I need to check to see if we're going to match last command standard out. Okay, so if we're standard, that's this. That's what we do. If we're create file, we get the file name. I want to create the file. Is it IO? If it's, I think it's FS. So let's mute. I don't think I put something in utilities, did I? Utilities. Oh, I have append all to file. I mean, that kind of works. Write all to file. Opens up a file, truncates it. Yeah, I think, okay, I kind of already did this for myself. Okay, so I get this. I want to write all to file. We get the thing that I want to write. So I have this into pipes, which means I need to get that out. So that mute our buffer is going to be a buff reader new of, I guess this is standard out. And then I want to get all the lines from this and then pipe that into here. But lines doesn't get me what I want, right? So buffer.lines, can I collect you into a, I guess it would be a vector string. So lines equals to that. Yes. And then you're going to want a string, not a string slice, an array slice of lines and a file name. And we do that. This, oh, this gives me an output of that. Okay, so I want you, that's round, you, semicolon you. Okay, you're happy now. Becca string. Oh, because it's, they have a bunch of results. So I can, I want to map, because each line is a result, which sucks. So I need to unwrap the string. I guess I can map filter, because I don't think there's a try. There's a try for each, but not like a try map filter. So we can map filter, filter map. We'll get a line here, and I want to line unwrap or unwrap or none. Can I? Oh, it's okay, right? Okay. Option T. Okay, so then I get you. We write you out, and append file is going to be pretty much the same thing. So we're gonna let our buffer equals a buff reader new over standard out. Let our lines buffer get the lines. We'll filter map get a line. We will line dot just okay this. We'll collect this to a vec string. And then we'll utilities, append all to file, and pass it in the lines, file name. Okay, so maybe that'll work. Whole bunch of warnings, but no errors. So if the cargo run you, let's see. If I do an ls redirect to test and I cat test, okay, that's sort of nice. That's not really what I want. I need, okay, so what happened here? I needed this to have new lines on them. Okay, if I ls-l and redirect to test, that's all one line, isn't it? Because if I, yeah, What are you? Cat test now? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just one line. If I pass this to word count, yeah, one line. Huh. Okay. So what's going on here? What am I getting here? Because I wonder if I want to write all. I wonder if I need to like map this and add a new line to the end of them. I'm not adding a trim, but maybe it doesn't think that it needs to have that. Maybe I need to add. Yeah, maybe I need to add a new line. Map through these. So filter map, line, okay. Do I want to do that here or do I want to just add another map in? Because I could add another map in. I know that it exists now, so we're perfectly fine. It's a string, and so I want to line dot push new line character. You need to be mutable. Oh, you know what we can do? We can do this here. Hold on. I'll map surround you with this. Okay, so I let line equals to line a question mark u because that's what it expects you to be. I make you mutable so I can line dot push a new line character. I think that's what I want, right? And then I return some line. I'm not 100% sure that this is what's going to print the output that I want. So if I ls and pipe to test, if I ls like that, okay, so that is supposed to be giving me a tab between each ls. So, or at least a space or something. I'm getting the output and I'm losing it. I wonder if I create, oh, not there. If I want, go to utilities. So write all to file. It's the only place that's doing it. So if I take in a buffer, so U8, if I just take in a buffer to that, okay, we open the file with write mode, we truncate it, we create the file. We're also going to create it if it doesn't exist. We open it. I'm doing trim stuff here. And so, but what if I don't need to do this? What if I just say file write all and then file write all, our buffer, which I think we already have. What do I call this? Messages. Just call this a buffer. I don't need that anymore. Now write all to file. I don't have to do any of this line stuff. We just get our buffer. I need to fill the buffer perhaps because we're done and we're ready to consume this. So if I fill the buffer, I know it's not meant to be used or meant to be used with consume, but I think this consumes it, right? So if I fill the buffer, we get a buffer, I then pass it a mutable reference to the buffer, the file name. Oh, I can't do that here. So you're going to be our equals to that. Let mute our buffer equals our reader fill buff. Okay, no errors. Try this again. So ls output to test cat test. There. That's what we were looking forward to seeing. I think that's what we want to see. So if I ls-al output to test cat test. Okay, that all seems to be working now. So that's a lot better. I kind of want to do the same exact thing, except I'm out of time. So we're gonna have to end the stream because otherwise 3 minutes of ads are going to hit us. So append file isn't working. So tomorrow we're gonna do a full test of everything, and then these will obviously run into problems when it's not working. We'll fix them. We'll fix up all of the errors and warnings. I guess there's no errors right now. All the warnings, and then we'll set it up to CodeCrafters and see if that works. I am ready to get back to this since we sort of figured out what was going on, and now we're just sort of working on little bugs and other issues that we added in and making sure that everything works as expected. I did realize that we haven't tested the main reason why we did our big pivot to using pipes, which is the entire, I guess, the entire built-ins pipeline support. Like we should probably test that using like type pipe to cat. I don't think there's anything that we have like echo. Our echo doesn't take in standard in, so we can't pipe to that. It looks like we can only pipe the other way around. And then I also think that they want us to lose something, right? Like if we do like echo something, pipe to CD, and then pipe to cat, we shouldn't get anything out. I vaguely believe that's what they were going for, or that might be multi-command pipelines. I don't remember. But okay, so I want to test essentially this. So let's see if I think everything works as expected. Let me go ahead and cargo run to make sure that this is actually compiling. Okay, good. Yeah, okay, so that isn't working as expected. If I do like type, you are working, type, pipe to cat, yeah, we don't get anything. So we do need to make sure that this is doing its thing. Now, if we have a pipe, I believe that it's fairly simple. In our main library, I think all we need to do is make sure that our Boolean that we pass into run external command is piping, because then it knows to use standard in. I believe that's all it really needs is but there's the previous child thing here. That's what it's doing, isn't it? Our standard in is being set from standard out, which is the previous child. Okay, so I basically need, if there's a previous child, that's one thing. Otherwise, I need to check to see if it's going to be, I could pass in standard IO from, and then whatever this thing is, which would be wrapped around the previous standard in, which, do I know what I know what the previous command is, don't I? Because I think I store that. The last command. I need to know if the last command is a built-in or something else. And you're a command. Ooh, so I can see built-in command. I wonder if I want to see. So we have these functions that are inside there. I wonder if I want to add in I have this extract pipe, which I've never used. Oh wait, you're never used. I do something else then. I must do something else. Oh, I think the extract pipe happens somewhere else now. This is on command, right? Yes. Is there anything else? So I get the user input line. Okay, so I parse user input. That gets me a bunch of commands. Okay, input for one command, which then I create a new command from, which gets me a built-in command here. I wonder if I lose built-in command at some point in time, if I like move it out, because it's possible that when I match this, I can't read from it again. But I'm also don't. Do I need to read it? Because I'm moving things like command name out of it. So if I try to, let's say I try to run something off of built-in command. Oh, which I could get. Let's see, the previous built-in command type. All I need is that if it exists, and if it's actually we have wait, I cloned this, don't I? Last command is some command I cloned. Okay, never mind. So if we have that, then a built-in command, I want to know if you're so input built-in command. I want to know if you're a built-in or not. So the function is built-in, and basically, if you're not found, that's false. So we're gonna match self not found. I wonder if I can do that to it, because we don't care what those are. So far, yeah. Okay, so we have the last command in here. I could pass in the last command to our run external and do the logic in there, or I could do the logic out here to then give it, because the only reason it needs this previous child is for the pipe. So what if I do like standard in pipe is gonna be I want to let some. Before I do that, I'm just gonna let's play around with this, right? So if I do an let some, oh, this is gonna be previous. This is current. This is gonna be this is the current command, isn't it? That's a problem because I overwrite it up here. The last command is this. If I lose that, so I kind of want to do let our current command is this, and we'll override the last command at the end of this while. Okay, so we overwrite you, which does mean that we do have access to the actual previous command now. Last command. So not found. Right before we run external, I want if let some last command command. I can just do an as ref. I want to find out if our last command. Okay, so we have a last command, and if our last command dot built-in command, you won't let me do anything here. You are public, so I should be able to run methods on you. Yeah, is built in. So I should run is built in, right? Okay. Type must be known at this point. Built-in command is an actual type, right? It's like we know that's a command. Apparently it doesn't know that exists. What's up with that? Yeah, because you always exist. Okay, so built-in command, that's a little bit weird to me because I have last command here. What if I just do our, I'm just a little bit curious why this isn't giving me what I expect. Like why am I not getting is built in? I did not. Let's see. Yeah, type must be known at this point. What are you yelling at me about? Do I have an error? Ooh, I do have an. Oh, okay. So, last command must be known at this point, which is interesting because this knows what you are. You're gonna be an option command. Okay. Apparently that's what I needed. Now it knows that's a boolean. Okay, so if it's a built-in, we're going to set the new pipe as a. Okay, so if our unwrapped last command, built-in command is built-in, so if that's true, I want to. We're going to return a standard IO from, and then it's going to be the just standard in reader, and then we return that. Okay, so we know that there was a previous command, but it wasn't a built-in. So else, if it's not built-in, it must be from a child, right? And we could unwrap the child now. So else, let's I'll probably have to do an if. Do I have to do an if let some for this? This is going to be the last child. This is our previous external child. Yes, we'll need an else. Okay, so if you don't exist, if a previous child doesn't exist, it would exist, right? Basically, it's not a built-in command, which means there should be another child if there was a previous command. So the else should never happen. So I'm going to put unreachable here. So that way, hopefully, it'll let us know if I indeed do get reachable there, because that shouldn't happen. Okay, so now I have last child. I want to standard IO from the last child, standard out, and that should exist. And then we return that. So I want, this is going to be the standard in. So what is this going to be called? This is going to be called external command standard in equals to that, and a semicolon u. Okay. Where, okay, so if let some, you don't have an else, which means, and if I don't have an else, so that means that there is no previous command this should also be unreachable. Okay, so now that I have my external command centered in, I should be able to replace this with it. So external command centered in. Ooh, but I do need this to be an option, don't I? Because like, hey, we're not always doing this. So if there was no last command, oh, actually, this is completely not what was thinking. We're gonna have to wrap this in a sum, aren't we? So that this will have to be none, a sum there. Okay, so now we have an option centered IO. This is our external command centered in. That's gonna be an option centered IO. Okay, so this is standard in that we're using. It's an option standard IO. Okay, so standard IO equals standard in. If let sum standard out, so I don't need to do this. Command standard in is, and then I just set it to be this standard IO. Okay, let's just see if this happens to work. I don't. We did a lot there. No, I should probably also check to see if we had any errors. We do. Type annotations needed. Okay, so our previous external child, we do need you. So you're an option child. Move. I use a move because is child, we are storing child, right? So I guess I can take. All right, let's see if this works. All right, we want to do type pipe to cat. We got of course we got unreachable code, so that's very much unreachable. Which unreachable code is it? It's line 77, so it's this one. So basically, we have a last command. It's not built in. It was built in, so I need to change my logic around there. Okay, type pipe to cat. Ooh, okay. So nothing happens there. It doesn't exit out. If I try echo hello world and pipe to cat, that works. Ooh, okay. Wait, that's my shell. That's not my shell. Echo, this is not gonna work. To cat. Yeah. Okay. Got excited there, even though I probably shouldn't have been. Okay, so what's going on here? We're gonna need to double check that certain things are happening when we want them to. So in our main library, so okay. First off, I'm really curious to see if this external command centered in is a sum. So let's print line what the external command centered in is. Type pipe to cat. It is a sum. Okay, so we're at least getting something there. That's great. The next question is it a built-in? So would it be standard in reader? This should be the standard out reader, right? Standard out reader. Okay, standard out from that. Why do you have expected unit type nothing? Hold on, now I'm confused about what you think that you want. Okay, so why do you think nothing at all? Because I put a semicolon in here. Silly. Okay. All right, so this is the main library on line 114. We match our command results. Use of moved value. So our standard out reader is gone. Oh, because I don't want the current standard out reader. I want the previous command standard out reader. So it's the wrong one, which is in an option, of course. It should be here. So if I do previous command standard out reader, let's unwrap you and see how happy you are. We'll take you. It's the opposite way around, I think I need to take here. No errors. Okay, so if I do type pipe to cat, ooh, that works. Echo hello world, pipe to cat, that works. Which means we should be able to take this command here. That works as expected. We should be able to do ls pipe to type exit. and we don't get the ls. Exit is a shell built in. And I believe that if I do the same thing again, and then pipe to cat, exit is a shell built in. Yeah, I don't get the ls, which is excellent. Okay, so I think this should cause these tests to pass. So because of that, I want to now fix up all of the, there's so many things here. Let's add, I mean, I can just use my shell for this. Okay, what did we do? We are piping previous built-in commands. Built-in commands to external commands. Okay. And before we try to fix this, I want to go through all of the warnings. I feel like that doesn't really actually remove all of the unused imports. That would be nice if it did. Okay, field standard error is never read. That feels like a problem. If standard error is never read out, that means we're not redirecting standard error probably, which means that we need to fix that. I think that's exactly what the problem is. I think in our main library, where are you? Down here. Yeah, okay, so we're matching command centered out. Oh, right here. So we match our command result before we even get to anything like this. We match our error. And currently we're just copying, but we need to do this entire thing. So if we reach this error, we need to match the, what is it? The current commands? Current command, unwrap, centered error. Okay. So if you're standard, we do this thing where it's just the IO copy. This is standard error reader to IO standard error. Okay, so we do that. Current command. I don't take, let's see. If I take you, I lose you. I just need an as ref. I just need a reference for that. Okay, next one. Create file. So we have our file name. If we're creating a file, we're doing the same thing that we have here. So we're creating a let mute. It's just we have a let buffer. I think it's gonna be, is it gonna be just to get the lines? Heck, if I get rid of you, throw you in here. Okay, so we have our reader. We create that from not standard out, but standard error. This is our standard error reader. We fill the buffer, and then we write all to the file, the buffer, and the file name. That should allow us to do that. Cannot move out of a standard, but I don't want to. Ooh, I'm moving out of here. Why am I moving out of here? Can I, because I'm losing, what am I doing? It's because our buff reader, oh, are you taking ownership of this? I could try clone, but I don't think it lets me clone. You don't implement clone, do you? Okay, so centered. Oh, move because, okay, so when I'm matching this, it has a file name. If I could just do a reference, because I don't actually need ownership of the file name because I can clone it if necessary. Okay, so, and in fact, that makes that easier even. So I write all to file like that, and then append file is going to be the same thing, where we take append file like this. So we let our buffer. So creating a function to like take in a buffer could, although it buffer pipe reader might be better for that. Let's see. So instead of new standard out, this is gonna be standard error reader. We have our file name, which is just you. Okay, no errors. All right. So if I what is this? This is gonna be by ls and error redirect. It's gonna be the other way around. If I do that, error redirect to test, cat test, we have the error. If I ls, the appropriate thing, an error redirect to test, cat test should now be Should that be empty? I don't remember if that should become empty after run that. And I don't know if, well, we'll find out when we run the tests. But the basics of it, I think, are working. So let's continue working on our errors. Okay, so this extract pipe is never running, but we have our pipe stuff working, so I don't think I even need this extract pipe. I think we can get rid of you. Our command IO, we're never reading standard in. Yeah, that would have been nice to use properly like this. Yeah, indeed. We could basically, okay, so if I want to do, when did we create the standard IO? It's in the library. I do all this sort of junk test stuff here, but I could do that when I create the next command standard IO. Standard in is the previous command's standard in reader. The previous command standard in reader, but that's not what I want, right? I want the previous command standard out reader, I think. Yeah, I want the previous command standard out reader. So previous command standard out reader, take that, creates what we want from this option. You're a pipe reader. We may not be using you at all because I don't think we need to have the previous one because we sort of lose it. This might be fine. Okay, so if I take you, then I theoretically don't need you anymore. I don't need the external command standard in, so I don't need that anymore. Instead, we're going to if let sum standard IO equals, is our command IO standard in, and this will be a standard. Oh, I do need to change this around a little bit because you need to be a standard IO. So you're going to be that. You're not happy because you're a pipe reader. Also, I would just want you to be that. Oh, you're not yelling at me, but the problem here is you're always just the previous command standard out. I don't think that's going to work. I kind of want to try it. Thing saved. If I echo hello world, pipe to cat. Oh, that does work. Okay, never mind. And so we should test our tough one first. We have test there. Okay, so if I tail-f test pipe to head -5n test. Yes, that's not working anymore because I need the child standard. It needs to be the previous child's standard in, depending upon how this is working. And that's the previous external child is never being used now, so it can't be this. We would have to take all of this, move you up here. Our external command centered in, which is, I kind of want to just call this to be like command IO centered in. You're going to be unhappy about this because new, you want this to be a pipe reader, but you're going to have to be a standard IO, and then you're going to have to be a standard IO. Okay, so no errors. Now if we run this, now I can do my tail-f test pipe to head-n5. We get that. Come over here, and I can do my echo hello append to test, and that does seem to work. So we're good to go there. In following with just sort of updating things as we find them, or as we fix each thing, I'm gonna get commit. Okay, so what do? We I guess we factored the command test. What is it? The command standard in to use the command IO struct. Okay, so we're no longer using pipe reader anymore. Okay, and custom error, we're not using our command not found. We're not using this message for that. Yeah, I never really used the custom error properly because we started using the error exit code. Error exit code. Yes, we've never read from the error exit code because we haven't sort of set that. We could set this fairly easily after our command is done, just to make sure that it's run. Where would we do that? So like after our command is done here, we have our current command. I wonder if I can get the exit code. So, or get exit code equals current command. I can do an as ref because I don't need to take ownership of it. We unwrap you because we know that you exist. Ooh, wait, where is the store? Where's the exit code stored? Oh, it's a command result here. That's what that is, which has an exit code. Okay. So command result. So in command result, we have a 0. Oh, and then the exit code here. So we're gonna... Okay, so if we get this, we know that our exit code is 0, and previous command send out reader. Okay, so we set that up. Then I also want to env use standard env. I can set a variable. The variable we're going to set is question mark, and we're going to set you to the exit code. What are you upset about? You're special. What? You won't let me escape that? Okay, so wait. So the question mark is special and requires the oh wait. Is it that question mark? Wait, set var is unsafe? Wait, is there any other set variables? It's like env sets the environment variable key to the value of the currently run process safety. Huh. I had no idea that's unsafe. All these are gets. Oh, we're gonna have to use an unsafe block. Okay, so unsafe. We're going to env set var. Our variable is question mark, and we're setting it to be the exit code. And I don't think it returns. It needs to be an as an OS string. I can format this. Can I do OS string? Probably not. So we'll just can format it. I can also toString this, right? So exit code toString. Okay. Now if we get to here, we get this code. And so regardless of what happens here, we also want to set the exit code here. So we'll use, oh, but we're in a match. This is the match that, this is the match that. So match surround by that. Ad break starts in around 5 minutes. Okay, let's do this here. So unsafe, env set var, question mark is going to be our code dot, code dot 0, right? Which you're private, cool. You need to be public. Also, I suppose because you need to be toString, so this just needs to be self.0 because we're just turning that in. So now, because you implement display, can I do the code? No. Okay, so as OS string, but I think I can toString it, right? Because display uses toString. So we should be good to go there. Okay. Now I don't currently have, I believe, a way to test this because I don't think I can, in my shell, I don't think I can like echo dollar question mark. Yeah, that just, we've never set that up. It technically works, but there's no way for me to like actually verify it because we don't have the feature to display variables. And I don't think that's going to be added into the shell either. But cool. I like that we're able to get that. Okay, a few more of these. All right, so unused variable. So our previous command started in reader. So if we're never using that, we don't need you. Okay, so unused variable standard in writer, but we do. Okay, so our standard in, we never use either of these. So we can just get rid of you. You don't need to be mutable. Unused variable pipe command standard out. Okay. Unreachable pattern, so we don't need the catch-all. That this this file done. Okay, that's all of our warnings, all of our errors. Cool. So you're all running. Let's get status this. Okay, so we handled all the warnings. Now we're gonna push this up, and we're gonna see how many tests this passes. I am not confident we're gonna test even the current we're gonna pass the current test because I don't know what other things it's gonna test for, and I don't know what things it's gonna be looking for when it comes to the piping. So we'll see. Of course, we have to wait for it to build. That's an entire thing too. Okay, the ads are starting any second now, and that was more tests passing than I expected. Looks like we passed a whole bunch. So the pipelines with built-ins that worked just fine. The dual command pipeline worked just fine. Looks like it's stage, is that 3? Redirection append to standard error isn't working. So they ran this test. No ads for you. Well, it hasn't technically started yet. So it's let's not celebrate yet. It like on my screen it's just saying ads starting soon. But it's like between that the countdown timer ended and like the ads actually starting. Which sometimes it starts really fast and sometimes it just takes. Oh, there it goes. Now the ads have started. So hopefully you're not getting them. Nothing happened. Whew, okay. Thank goodness. You're ad free this time. I am gonna go take this opportunity to go get myself some caffeine, and then I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Okay, so we have let's see, what redirection append to standard error is not working. We can tell what's going on. We can test this here. So let's, if we cat test, we have this. So we should be able to see an error append to you. Let's full screen you. Let's cargo run. And if we run our test here, I don't want to append that. Let's just append to test. What did you expect? So ls run non-existent temp ant ls. Okay, so we got the error message. Expected file to exist. No such file or no such file or directory. That's our problem. So if I remove test, we want ls nothing test. Okay, that's our problem. It needs to create the file on append if it doesn't exist. Let's find this. So I don't need any of these commented out codes anymore. Okay, so basically we have the command result is an error, and we're appending normal. Oh, because I'm only checking standard error here. I need to also check standard out, don't I? Because we need to do both at the same time. If I do both of these, so as ref standard out, if I do that, I will copy. If your standard this is standard out reader, needs to be mutable. Our standard error reader, but this is the standard out reader. Then the same thing here. So your standard out reader. Okay, no error messages. Okay, so if I do this back to test, I need to remove test just to double check. Also, I don't have history, so you're going to test. I want to cat test. You do exist, but the error went into it. So I think we're fine now. Just because that's I want to reset that every time. So git commit am. This is when handling redirect standard out when there is an error. All right, let's see how many of these tests pass. Okay, I wonder if this is going to be the opposite one. So now it's redirection append standard out. So we ls a directory and we redirect that. we cat it, and oh, that's weird. Okay, we can do something about this. So we can make dir temp b. Okay, so we can echo apple to temp b apple, apple echo pineapple to that too, echo strawberry. So these should be each in new lines, right? So if I cat temp b, what are you trying to do? You're trying to, oh, you're just trying to ls. So your ls temp b redirect to, let's say, test. Cat test should be all new lines. So I'm losing the new lines. I'm losing the new lines on redirect, and this is standard. This is append standard out redirection. So on success, we're appending, and this makes me wonder if I append all to the file, can I just do the same thing that I did up above? Just make this a buffer. We'll just take in a buffer, which is a slice of bytes. We have our file name. I don't need to filter you because I'm just appending whatever is in there. File name. Okay, so open that up, create it if it doesn't exist, append, mark it as append. I don't think I need to filter this. We might need to write a new filter message is empty. I might need to write a new file, like a new line to it if necessary. But we should be able to do file, write all, and the buffer needs to be a mutable ref, right? Yeah, you need to be a mutable reference to the buffer. So edit the buffer, do that. Okay, and now both of you are going to be upset because we need to do what we did up here a little bit more. So I create a buffer from buff reader. We don't get any lines from this. This is really going to be our reader equals to that. Let mute buffer equals reader, fill the buffer, and then mute buffer. Okay, and same thing over here. So we have our reader, we have our let mute buffer. It's going to be equal to the reader fill buffer and mute buffer. Oh, and append file here. So same thing. We have our reader. We're gonna create our let mute buffer. Our reader fill the buffer, and this is a mutable reference to the buffer. You need to mute, and then append file. So what are you upset about? Cannot borrow data in a reference as mutable because you're a reference already. Well, if you can't be a reference, I suppose I could just pass them as the buff reader. So if you're not that, oh, you're not upset? Okay. In that case, so mute there, not mute there, reference there. Okay, no errors. That's with everything. Okay. Let's try this again. So cargo run. The command we want to run is this. That goes to temp dog ant, which there's no such directory. So make dir temp dog. Okay, I want a cat temp dog ant d. Okay, I think that works as expected. Okay, so what are we doing? We are we refactored what is it? We refactored the buffer writer, the append file writer to use a buffer. And it's really a use bytes instead of lines. All right, let's try this. Okay, all right. We got close. Redirect standard error. Okay, so we attempt to redirect. We have we send that over there. We got the error message that put it in a file correctly. we echoed something that works. So this is a successful message. We error redirect that to a file. It's a different file. We successfully got the message out, expected the file to exist, no such file or directory. So let's recreate this locally. So it's make dir /temp box. We echo David, file cannot be found. Well, I'm not in my shell, so that will work. We need to do this in a shell. Okay, that, and then if I cat temp box al.md, no such file or directories. That means when I'm redirecting, so we have an error. Oh, this is just redirecting, so it's not append. So in an error state, so we have our standard error. No, but it's not an error state. When we're in a success state, and we redirect. So we need to do the same thing here, where we're testing standard error like this. That's not what I want to do. I want to take you where we're also matching the current command, but it's the last command, right? So if it's successful, it's not that. It's right here, which I just, of course, lost it. Okay, so if your standard error, at the very bottom here. Okay, so this is last command. We don't need you anymore because we already have you. Okay, we check to see standard error. Okay, so the last command. Okay, so copy. If it's standard, this actually won't happen ever. I want to say this is unreachable, but I might want this to be just a no operation because standard, I just want to create the files, right? Because this was a successful command. So you can't do anything like that. We've already actually handled all the real stuff here if it's an error. Maybe I actually want to do this up here, don't I? If you're redirect, I think so. Hold on. If you're successful, that's what this is, right? It's a, come on. Yeah, if you're successful and I do an error redirection. If you're successful, you do this, I do an error redirection. Now, down here, we have standard out. We have our previous command, standard out reader. I'm already, yeah, for every time I do a command, I'm already doing standard. I'm already doing a standard error. So yeah, that feels like it's here. For our command result, if we're successful, we set our exit code, and then I want to match. I wonder if this is going to double me up. Okay, so if you're a standard error, which none of this will, it'll try, but nothing should read from it. Unless there was like something previously in here, but I think I wonder if I'm gonna have to clear out the buffers, or like the pipes or whatever it is at the end of each command if it doesn't get read. We might have to do something like that. Let's try. So if I run this again, we get that successfully. And if I cat temp box al md, that worked. Let's remove temp box al md. Okay, there's nothing in there. Try this again. Temp box. Okay, this might be working. Let's just send it without any more tests. What can possibly go wrong? Okay, so on successful command, redirecting standard error, just to create the file. I suppose there's some commands that could do both standard error and standard out, which we're not really handling right now. I would probably think like there's probably a minor refactor that, or I guess it would be a rewrite because it would be changing behaviors. There's probably something we can do to make that a little bit better. All right, what happened here? This is early, so dual command pipeline. The first one works as expected. The second one, where we do an echo, apple, grape, blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, mango into a file. and then we try to tail head, and then it doesn't get what we expect. Whoa, which makes me think that maybe the echo didn't work. That would make more sense if I mictor temp cow. Okay, nothing's in there right now. If we run u ls temp cow, there is a file there. And if I cat temp cow, cat temp cow file 11, that is oh, I guess that's correct for mine. That is correct for my my echo, because we're not handling this. So I think they're doing normal echo with something like this. So if I cat temp cow file 11, if I run cat temp cow file 11, okay, we get those things. And you wanted to, this is that big tail dash f, right? So that works. And I want to, I think the next thing, so yeah, oh wait, it doesn't work. It didn't read the current tail out properly, because I should be able to get apple, grape, blueberry, raspberry, and strawberry, mango printed out immediately, but I don't. And if I echo like hello, and I append this to temp cow file 11, I don't get that. So we've lost the previous, the let command standard O. This isn't working. So we're getting the command standard O IO. So if the unwrapped last command was built in, I take the standard out reader and we wrap that in a standard IO. Otherwise, we get the last child and we take standard out from it and we return it. So technically that should work. I wonder if we can see what this is here. Because if I do like a print line, this is got a last child, setting standard in to be last child, standard in, standard out. I don't get that. So tail dash f, that should be this. Sorry. When we get to the head, that should print this out, but we don't. I broke things. That's cool. Okay, so unwrapped last command. So let's do our entire print line thing and see what we're getting here. We have a previous command. This is our unwrapped last command. Okay. Okay. Are we freezing on tail? I feel like we're now freezing on tail. So run external executable, print line, about to create command name. We set the arguments, we set the standard error, we set the environment. We are print line setting standard in for, I lost command name, didn't I? So I guess those should just be command. If this is not the last command, this is going to be a print line, not, we're piping standard out. Else if are we redirecting? So line, we're redirecting standard out, and then we are spawning command. Okay, I wonder if we're gonna see head ever get called. My guess is no. My guess is that we're not gonna see. All right, excuse me. Okay, so so that's what I thought. We're about to create the command tail. We're piping standard out. So we know that we're piping standard out. We are spawning the command. So we get to here, which means we get back to here. So we run external. We have our child. So then we have child. Okay, so we do have our child for tail. If the command is empty, so there's no more, we wait for the child. So waiting for child. Otherwise, we set the previous external child to some child. So storing storing child for next command. I should get there. Yes, storing child for next command. Okay, so we got to this point. So our previous external child is now, we have you, which means it's not this else because we were inside of this if else, right? Yeah. We were in the if let sum executable. Okay, so then we come down to here, we match the command result. If your exit code, so this would be exit code 0, and this is all about redirecting. So we're taking the standard out reader, which should be fine because it's the current one we're doing it with an external command, so that's not a problem, although this could potentially be a problem with like type or something. Actually, no, this is okay. We're just saving the standard out reader to be this. I mean, probably we should save that regardless if it's okay or not. I do wonder. Okay, so if we get to something like this, we are print line about to redirect redirect output on command results. I think we lost the command name, right? So if we come to the end of this match, we're still in the loop here. So print line redirected redirected standard out and error on last command, and then we stored the last command, and then we go around the loop again. So print line next command time. We're not getting to the next command time, so we shouldn't get here. About to redirect output on command results. So I am right. So the standard out for tail hasn't exited yet, which means I can't do this. So if it's okay, we can't match on this unless we're done, right? Which makes me think I only do this if the command finished. And actually, we only do this if there's no other command, right? So if our commands dot guess is empty, okay. So if we're empty, so there's no more commands, then we do this. But if we're not empty, we don't do that, which means that the tail won't happen. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, we have apple, grape, blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, mango. If I do my echo hello, that shows up again, and those are 5 things. And all right, so I want to remove all my print lines. Oh, that's fun. What do we do? Print line, print line. We don't need you. Okay, so we're good there. And then this one we don't need any of you. So okay, and I didn't think we put any in utilities. Yeah, I think we're fine. So now handling, so this is basically just not dropping last external commands standard out pipe unless it's the last it's really the last command. All right, let's try that. Whenever I see that pause, it's super close. Okay, that CD built-in. This is a really early test, but we've gotten through a lot of these tests, which is great. Okay, so what is this? We do CD to an absolute directory, pwd, and that seems to work. We do CD to another directory. It tells me non-existing directory is not a directory. We expected a different error message. I expected this error message. And then, okay, so if we can recreate this. If I just try to CD to that, what's the difference here? It wants you to have CD colon space the path, then colon, no such file or directory. All right. In our change directory here, okay, so This is what happens when we rewrote the change directory without looking at the actual requirements. So we didn't really get it right. Okay, we find our home directory. We get our target path. Okay, so we figure out what our target path is going to be. If our target path is a directory, it's not a directory. Target path. Okay, so we figure out what our target path was. We write line. Okay, so we just straight up write the line of what this is. So we know that this is going to be cd colon our target path. We want another colon, and then no such file or directory, like that. That's what we want. So if I cd to something like that, I think that's all we want. Okay, so this is changed error message for cd built in to match what the tests are expecting. Okay, implement exit. What does implement exit have? Oh, it's just the command not found. Okay, so line does not match expected value. We expected invalid grape command not found. We received invalid grape command not found with a capital C. If I write my own shell and like I actually write my, I'm gonna make that a capital just because. No capital letters allowed, apparently. A little bit of a snarky comment, but fine. We're fine. Okay. Implement exit. Expected a prompt, but received nothing? Hold on. Cargo run. Also, ad break starts in around 5 minutes. So if I just run nothing, oh yeah, command not found, and then I need the prompt again. So I write line, command not found. I drop standard error. I need to drop standard in too, don't I? Or standard out? Because if I write this, because if I drop the standard out, I mean, I wonder if I want to just drop next command, the next command IO. But let's try this. So if I, okay, so we get that. That's okay. So upon not found error, dropping standard out as well. All right, let's see how this works. All the tests are passing. Excellent. Okay, so this was not quite as bad as the last time we went through everything and we created the piping to begin with, but it was a fairly beefy rewrite. But we've got ourselves to the point where pipelines with built-ins are complete. Multi-command pipelines, that's complete too. I sort of figured that these were because I think we tested them ourselves and they were working, but it took a couple seconds for the test to pass. So we can mark that stage as complete. So we've done all of pipelines now.